Good evening and welcome to the Haute Alps. Charlie Bosco and Mike Langley here, live with you from Briançon. It is a third Lead World Cup final in the space of just 14 days, and what an unpredictable and wild final it promises to be. Mike, before we get into the finals, before we get into the routes, we're standing here in front of a packed field in Briançon. It's a fabulous place to watch a competition.
Yeah, I mean, not only is it a fabulous town surrounded by fabulous climbing and mountains and rivers and you name it, it's here. But the crowd here, I think, is going to be pretty spectacular. I actually drove here this afternoon to get to the venue and parked miles away down the road. Walking in, I was walking along, all the cars lined up. I started to get really nervous. This is a big deal here in Briançon tonight. It's so super exciting.
Next time, just tell me, we'll give you a spot on the IFSC helicopter. It landed just behind him minutes ago. My hair's still messed up. Mike, Briançon's a very traditional climbing venue. We do tend to get kind of old school routes, and that's what we've had all weekend. It seems that's what we've got for the finals.
Yeah, bizarrely, in route setting, you wouldn't really say one route is similar to another, but somehow in Briançon, they have this tradition of like old school crimpy routes. I'm not sure if it's got anything to do with the style of the routes around here, but somehow that's what's happened in Briançon over the last few years when this competition's actually gone on, and we've seen that through the qualifiers yesterday and the semi-finals last night, and again tonight we are talking small crimps, endurance, hard resistance climbing, pumpy, and hopefully a small number of tops, if any.
Yeah, the route setters' work made even harder by the fact we've got such wild card finals almost. I'm looking over on the men's side. Only 3 of the 8 are World Cup winners, and Janja Garnbret is the oldest on the women's side. It's a quite extraordinary lineup.
Well, that's what makes tonight so exciting, I think. Taking the men's competition to start with, it's like you said, it's completely wild card. We've got people in there who, I think it's 3 World Cup winners. You've got veterans of the game like Sean McCall. You could even put Doman Skofic, Marcello Bombardi, finalists a couple of times. He's on that kind of lower end of the legends category. But then you've got complete wild cards in there, and people like Sean Bailey, who had an incredible semi-final route last night. Will Bosey, who's made finals twice now. And this competition here in the men's comp tonight is anybody's to win. And I think that leads itself into a couple of things. Basically, they're going to know that the door is open here for a World Cup win. Somebody unknown could take this, and there's a real opportunity to take it. In the women's competition, it's as always, it's about Janja and the Janja show. Can she be beaten by fellow 7 climbers who are younger than her, less experienced, but no lacking in talent? And that's what we've seen through Villa, Chamonix, and all of a sudden climbers like Che Yen-Shu from Korea. You realise all of a sudden that she has got the talent. It's not some fluke that she's just come in here, born in 2003, and can all of a sudden just crimp away up a few routes. She's got what it takes, and she's got a real contender.
Yeah, I have to say, ahead of this lead season, especially after Janja's performance in the bouldering, I kind of thought Janja might just run away with it. We might not be in for a great show, especially because we're missing Annette Verhoeven, Jane Kim. Here in Briançon, we're also missing Jessie Pilz. Those 3 for sure have been her closest competition in the previous 3 seasons. And as we've said several times, but we're still kind of digesting, climbers have just come from nowhere to suddenly challenge Janja Garnbret and beat her. And she was beaten fair and square in the qualifiers and in the semi-finals last night.
Yeah, I guess the big storyline on everyone's minds was at the start of the season, Janja won the first competition. We're like, oh, here we go again. Janja's going to run away with it. But in that competition, we couldn't really tell what level she was at because of the routes in the final didn't really suit the kind of scene. And talking of scene, let's just check this for a few minutes because the good scene here building in Briançon.
Yeah, it's Iceland in the 2016 Football World Cup all over again. Was it 16? It sounds about right. World Cup again. Crowd getting fired up here in Briançon. As ever, it is a big crowd. It's an enthusiastic crowd, and it's a knowledgeable crowd. And they have absolutely no idea who is going to win on either side, and neither do we. It is wide open on the men's and the women's competitions. That's how it's making the crowd feel.
Yeah, just going back to what I was saying there, Charlie, it's good to take in these moments. If you ever get a chance to come to World Cup, definitely do, because the atmosphere really is electric. So many passionate people in the audience tonight. But what I was saying about Janja is that she was under real competition kind of at the start of the season. Then she won the first one and she did the move that nobody else could do and did it easily. But then since then, missing the missing the finals in Chamonix, and then last night, I mean, you did the interview with her. It wasn't Janja that we know.
No, I must have interviewed Janja, I don't know, 100 times. She's polite, she's friendly. I appreciated her coming over because it was pretty obvious she did not want to be talking to me, was not happy, and it's in moments like that you realise what a competitive animal she is. Ahead of her, of course, Natsuki Tani, the Japanese sensation. She did the double boulder and lead in the Youth World Championships in Moscow back in August of last year, and also Cheon-seo, who albeit after 2 World Cups, has a record that even Janja would envy, which is a second and a first. And she was the only climber to top the semi-final last night. It's not a very scientific process, but talking to people in here, I think most people think she'll win tonight.
Yeah, I think just looking at the talent on display last night, there wasn't any sort of real obvious sign of weakness in her game. It's not as if there's a dyno and she just looks totally lacking in power or missing the coordination skills or something. She looks like the full package. And what's staggering about Cheon is that she's just come into the senior side of the World Cups. She's had these extremely, they're just mind-blowing results, but she seems to have taken it all in her stride. She doesn't seem to get nervous. She just goes out there and climbs her very best, and that's what's going to be really interesting tonight. This plays into the men's competition as well, is the nerves on display in front of these crowds. Someone like Cheon, she seems to have it, but will others in the field have it as well?
Well, there's so many unanswered questions. I mean, what are we now? Saturday, 7 days and 2 hours ago, we knew that Janja Garnbret was going to clean sweep the season and she was the best climber in the world, and we're still digesting just what Cheon has done. But I quite agree with you. She just seems to be completely unaffected by this pressure. There was a bit of pressure on her in Chamonix from our big result in Villars. Responded to that pretty well by winning. There's pressure here in Briançon. Only person to top the semi-final route. She is an absolute sensation, and we've had basically a week to try and get our heads around it.
Well, the way that she topped the semi-final route as well is actually quite remarkable, because not only did she look fresh, the way that she did the top moves, she was thinking on the fly. She had this, if you haven't watched it, go back and she watched this. She had this dish hold with her right hand. Everyone else was like panicking, going out left to this bad hold. She just got this dish, just matched around, and it had a little feel, ended up using a little bit around the back, and it was just like she was on a different hold to even Janja.
Yeah, so many stories this evening. We'll be the men climbing first, though, and as you might be able to see on the camera, they are currently being led through the crowd. I like this. I like when the crowd come and they get the World Cup finalists to walk right past them.
I hope they're getting high-fived through there.
I think so, yeah. Their pace seems to have slowed somewhat, so we can't really pick them up on the camera.
I wonder if they've got any sort of massive bodyguards either side of like Sean McCall, just to make sure no one touches the hair.
UFC style. It's always my big concern when walking through a crowd, I have to say.
What we're just talking about there, Charlie, and people being able to deal with the pressure, the way that the organisers put the pressure on the climbers here. There's people in this final tonight, Hidemasa Nishida, Shuta Tanaka, Will Bosey, Hiroto, Shimizu and Sean Bailey, who are relatively inexperienced at this kind of level, and to be paraded through the crowd, given high fives by a few thousand people, then to try and come out and perform your very best to try and win a lead World Cup is going to be quite fascinating, I think.
Mike, the flags have just emerged from the crowd. It turns out it was just the flags being carried by some local Briançon kids. I thought they were bringing the athletes to the crowd.
I'm disappointed.
I am slightly disappointed, yes. So the athletes will be brought on stage in the traditional method. Well, anyway, the flags had a fun time, even if the athletes are...
kids had a good time.
Yeah, they had a good time, even if the athletes are behind the wall.
I should have put those like masks. Each of them wore a cardboard cutout of one of the climbers. That would have been a lot better.
But yeah, the men's field, again, quite extraordinary lineup. 3 World Cup winners out of 8, so more than half the people in the final haven't won a World Cup. Domin Skofic, 5-time World Cup winner. Sean McColl, 5-time World Cup winner. Marcello Bombardi, 1-time World Cup winner. That is it. Huge opportunity here. We don't have Jakob Schubert, we don't have Adam Ondra. Alex Megos and Stefano Gisolfi and Sasha Lehmann fluffed their lines in the semi-finals. There is a gilt-edged opportunity for someone, whether it's Domin or Sean or Marcello, to add to their tally, or for someone like Will Bosey to really step up.
Well, most people like an underdog story in sport, and that's what really makes this a tantalising prospect tonight. Someone can really go out there and make a name for themselves, no matter who in that name of 8. Someone's got this wide open opportunity. It's not to say that every World Cup is an opportunity, because we saw last night in the semi-finals these big names making big mistakes in the middle of the route, whereas others way before them had got onto the head wall and the route was looking easy at the start of the semi-final. But as it turned out, yeah, like you said, fluff lines in the middle of the route, and the big names were dropping like flies all of a sudden at the end of the competition.
We had an interesting chat with some of the route setting team last night, and they were going crazy because they felt they'd set a relatively tricky route, as in there weren't many tricks in it, not that it was easy. And the climbers were looking for tricks, they were looking for weird moves, and the section where we lost Alex, Sasha, Stefano Gisolfi, some of the route setters were saying they'd done it campus style, they'd done it without their feet, it wasn't hard, and the climbers are looking for difficulty where it doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's a tricky one to analyse. I think looking through some of the semi-finalist social media feeds, they were just saying basically it seemed like a bit of a cryptic sequence when you got there, and sometimes in route setting, when you work as a team, you all tend to use the same method as the guy who goes up first. He has a go, or she, and tries the method, and everyone can kind of follow the leader a little bit. And there's a large skill in route setting to make sure that doesn't become, you don't get led down the rabbit hole, basically. And it has happened time and time before, but at this level, the route setters have got to have a go, as the route setter who set the route wanted you to try it, and then think about all the different alternatives. But sometimes a move can seem not as hard as it actually turns out when you're trying to on-site the route.
Yeah, it's a good point. Either way, it was a hugely frustrating evening for most of the climbers who would have expected to claim a place in the finals. A lot of people really had their eyes on Alex Megos, and it just didn't quite work out. But as it is, it means we've got this quite extraordinary final where we're almost certainly going to get someone picking up their first podium, you would imagine. Yeah, hard to know where to start on storylines for the men. That is the wall as we look at it here in Briançon. Briançon town itself is behind the wall, and it's another stunning evening. We had 2 wonderful evenings for the paraclimbing. Replays are available on YouTube and as our highlights, and then we have the semi-finals also available on YouTube as our highlights. Last night, so it's our 4th evening of competition here in Briançon, and we await the arrival of the 8 male climbers. It will be Hidenasa Nishida, Marcello Bombardi, Domin Skofic, Shuta Tanaka, Sean McColl, Will Bosey, Hiroto Shimazu, and Sean Bailey. Over on the women's side, Vita Lucan, Nina Arto, Ashima Shuraeshi, Yutong Jang, Mia Krampel, Yanya Gambra, Natsuki Tani, and Chaehyun Seo of Korea. I would be impressed if anybody predicted those finals.
Yeah, we've made predictions in the past, they're generally always wrong, but it's always
not normally this wrong.
It's always really fun to kind of have a bit of a stab in the dark, as it were, and do it at home as well. I know there's a few kind of like fantasy leagues out there as well for the climbing, and it is good fun, but yeah, I wouldn't bother trying to predict this one tonight.
Here comes Hidemasa Nishida. He was 4th in the last 2 World Cups of 2018. Never been on a World Cup podium and not been in a final since October of last year. Armed with his binoculars, ready for the observation. Here comes Marcello Bombardi. He won his first ever World Cup final, Chamonix 2017. He made the next final, that was right here in Briançon, and since then he's only been in 2, Cranch 2017 and Cranch 2018. makes a return to the finals here in Briançon for 2019.
Representing Slovenia, Domen Skofic.
Here is Domen Skofic, 5 times a World Cup winner, 2016 season champion in the lead. He really wants to get back on top of the podium. Slipped in the semi-final, looked like he hadn't actually done enough, but here he finds himself in the semi-final and the final. Shooter Tanaka now. Been in finals before, but never a podium. Youth A lead champion for the Innsbruck Youth World Championships in 2017. Can he convert it into a major result in the men's competition? Almost 2 years on here in the Southern French Alps in 2019. Here comes Sean McCall, 5 times a World Cup winner. Needs very little introduction. But Vilar 2016 was the last of those wins. He's been close, most notably in Chongqing 2018. Could perhaps, should have won that one. But over 3 years since his last win, a bit like Domen, absolutely itching to add to his tally of 5 World Cup wins.
Representing Great Britain, William Bosey.
Here comes Will Bosey, final last week in Chamonix. We talked about him. Needing, expecting, heading for that possible big result. Could it come here in Briançon? He won't get many better chances than this. Hiroto Shimizu, his only other final was here in Briançon last year. He finished 8th.
This is the United States climber, ladies and gentlemen, Sean Bailey.
Here's Sean Bailey, never picked up a lead medal. It's considered his strongest discipline, but his only IFSC World Cup medal remains that 2nd place from Vale in 2018. His best lead result actually came here in Briançon in 2017. He was 5th. It's his first lead final since Edinburgh that same year, 2017. And now we get a chance to have a look at the men's route. Switching over from the semi-final, the men are on the right, the women are on the left. Women will be presented and will do their observation later on after the conclusion of the men's final. Will Bosey now heading down to observe a couple of metres away from us. Most of the climbers choosing to stay on stage. Mike, you were talking to Carlos Brasco, our chief route setter from Spain, from Catalonia. What have we got in store?
Well, in the men's route then, on the right hand side, as you say, big collection of volumes, mostly yellow, a couple of sort of pink and black ones at the bottom of the wall. 45 moves to the top on this one. In World Cup terms, that's average, but average to short. We have seen up to 50 already this season. So yeah, 45 moves in the men, mostly basically green screw-on edges and a couple of kind of overlapping edges of volumes. Not too cryptic, a couple of sequences that are just kind of a little bit interesting to read around the midsection of the route. Some crossovers, some sequences that can be slightly confusing for the athletes. It's going to be about not making mistakes here tonight rather than falling off a ridiculously hard move, I think. As we saw last night, mistakes were really heavily punished in the middle of the wall, and in some ways I think it could be similar here tonight. Generally speaking, the route just kind of, it's pretty straight, goes left to right around the 5th quick draw, same as we saw in the women's competition last night. And the eagle-eyed viewers will notice there's no bolt placements on the wall, no bolt hole placements, no T-nuts drilled into the wall, so completely clean panels. That means, generally speaking, lots of volumes with lots of screw-on holds added to them. Really interesting, Charlie, just as you're reading out the stats there, I was heavily watching the presentation of the athletes, and we talked a little bit about who's got it and who hasn't tonight, who's got the mental capacity to deal with this tonight. I have to say Sean McCall and Will Bosey, the ones who are really looking out, taking in the crowd. It's very, very far back to the back rows here tonight. Those are the ones who I think are really going to kind of take this on as a show tonight. The other athletes, some of them look deadly focused. Yeah, Sean Bailey coming out last with the cap and the hoodie up. He kind of got this kind of look going on. He's got his own thing going on, trying to look as chilled as possible.
Yeah, it's very interesting how climbers deal with it. I mean, really, you've got two options, haven't you? You either acknowledge the crowd and embrace the experience, or you just try to pretend it's not happening and you focus on your climb. And part of the skill set of a World Cup climber is knowing what type of climber you are and making the most of it. And as you say, Sean McCall, we've got to actually keep our voice down. I don't want to disturb him as he observes the route. A metre away from me. Clearly someone that enjoys the crowd, ditto Will Bosey. And as I say, yeah, I can't help but be amused. Sean Bailey strolls out onto the stage, not a care in the world, and then you suddenly unleash him and this beast of a climber comes out.
Looks like he's just got out of his hammock in the woods. And just thought, might as well have a go, have a look.
Long may the dirtbag spirit reign in climbing. Yeah, 2.5 minutes left. The climbers get this 6-minute joint observation. One interesting feature, by the way, I'm just looking across the 8 climbers. You can see our guy on the stage, our camera on the stage picking them up. There's not been that much communication between the climbers until now. They're going to spend the first few minutes of observation just doing their own thing. The 3 Japanese climbers, all far apart from each other, not in any way sharing information, despite obviously having a shared language. Sean Bailey is out on his own, doing his own thing. You might just see him about to walk into the shot there. Yeah, he's just doing his own thing. Dom and Sean and Will now suddenly beginning to swap a bit of information, but Marcello also quietly observing by himself. Interesting to see. We often see the climbers kind of, they do generally split into groups somewhat, but yeah, really interesting to see. This is probably the least communication I've seen between climbers in an observation period.
I think it's a really good observation, actually. Good observation during the observation. We're off to a good start here.
Thank you for observing my observation of the observation.
Yeah, they're just nowhere near each other. I don't think I've seen something like that for a little while.
No, and inevitably we have language issues, but the 3 Japanese climbers now, I don't know if we can go on the stage and have a look. Yeah, there's I can't quite make who that is. Our monitor's very much in the sun, actually. But the 3 Japanese climbers, yeah, standing close to each other, but not, I don't think they've even said a word to each other. Very, very unusual.
Yeah, this is the process that they went through last night as well. So there's 26 of them tonight. Last night there's only 8 tonight, so there's a bit more space on the stage, and kind of it's not quite so shoulder to shoulder, but they do seem a bit more kind of on their own, and it obviously worked for them last night. They absolutely dialed it during the semi-final, so I reckon that's their method. That's kind of how they operate, and that's fair enough. I do always wonder that, it's always so fascinating. We talk about the observation so much in climbing, but how much you can actually pick up off somebody, it would be interesting statistic to know. Will Bosey joined me in the co-commentary in the middle. I was saying he remembers 95% of the route. When he comes, goes backstage, kind of keep running it over in his head. I wonder how much of that 95% he actually picks up off somebody else. Is there a way where someone says, oh no, you actually cross over here, you'll have to, oh geez, I was actually going to go feet first there, Is it, how likely is it you actually pick up loads of information from somebody else?
I think it's really interesting as well, because as we've said, we've basically got a final of people that haven't made many finals, and 5 of them have never won a World Cup, yet they've got the confidence to observe themselves.
Yeah, it was interesting talking to, kind of keep harping on about Will Bosey. We had quite a long chat after the Chamonix finals, where he said it was really interesting when all 8 of them went back, and they were like, oh, did you see that bit where you go feet first halfway up? And he's like, no, what? Him and Magos were like, no, absolutely, that's not the sequence. And it was cool how some people ended up going feet first through that bit, and some people ended up just crimping front on.
There are the 8 climbers who appear this evening. Hidemasa Nishida will be first out. Remember, the climbers coming in reverse order, so he qualified 8th. He'll be followed out by Marcello Bombardi, then Domen Skofitz of Slovenia, Shuta Tanaka, the 2nd Japanese climber on the wall, then Sean McCall, Will Bosey, Hiroto Shimizu, and Sean Bailey of the United States. I should point out, by the way, Hiroto Shimizu and Sean Bailey tied in the qualification and tied in the semi-final, so they come through in joint first. Yeah, Mike, when people observe, and that's an interesting story about Will Bosey, it's, I suppose, if you're confident in your own climbing and you know your own climbing style well enough, you trust your reading, and you almost don't want the input of someone else. It makes you doubt what you know is right for you.
Well, that's basically exactly what happened. He went back there, and likes of Adam Onder and Jakob Schubert are saying, "Did you see that feet first bit?"
And I'd be thinking, right, well, I'm going feet first if they are.
Yeah, so he decided when he got to that point on the route, he was just, well, basically what he did, he came out and he had his 40 seconds, whatever it is, to re-observe the route. He said, right, as soon as I go out 40 seconds, first 10 seconds, quickly check what the hell they're talking about and see if there's anything obvious there, or they're just winding me up. And he did. He went out there and was like, yeah, I can see it, but I'm going to stick to my guns. And he's obviously confident enough in his own climbing just to do that. And that's the big skill, like you said. Do you start questioning yourself because of what you've learned from others, or do you just stick to your own method? And it's difficult when maybe you're in your second finals ever, when other world champions are saying, "Did you see this method?"
Yeah, I mean, if Adam Onder had told me to walk on my hands to the crag, I'd probably do it, to be honest. So it must be quite hard to ignore. Basically ignore his advice and his route reading, but impressive mental strength and confidence from Will to have kind of overridden that.
Well, we've definitely given Will the big up. Let's see if he can perform.
Yeah, no pressure, Will. I'm looking forward to seeing Sean Bailey as well. He kind of burst onto the IFSC scene, looked like the next big star, the coming man of men's lead climbing. And this is his first lead final since Edinburgh 2017, which was September, so just shy of 2 years ago. Looking forward to seeing how he gets on. And as I say, he picked up his best ever result here in Briançon 2 years ago, that same year, 2017, when he was 5th. But he's never been on a World Cup podium in lead. Second in Vale in 2018, and a quite extraordinary day when you might remember Alex Puccio also took the gold, came from nowhere. We hadn't seen her in World Cup back in that year, and then stormed to the gold. That was a World Cup for the ages, Vale 2018, and as I say, as it stands, Sean Bailey's best results in a World Cup.
Well, just focusing back a little bit, just looking at the start list, Hidemasa Nishida, Japan, is going to be out first, and I remember watching him in the semi-finals yesterday, thinking, he basically really struggled at the bottom of the route, and then somehow, we just counted him out, and then you see him in the finals list at the end of the semi-final round. So it's really, really interesting. But got a quick bit of time here, and hopefully we can hear from one of the route setters, Jan Zaranek, who's actually just with us here at the moment. So let's bring him in.
Et franchement, voilà, le pointeur François, il adore, c'est son petit joujou.
Jan, I thought you learned your lesson. Don't come near us. You have to come and talk to us. Thanks for your time, though. What's the day been like here in Briançon? How much have you played with the route?
Yeah, we started early in the morning. We put down the semi-final routes and we put back on the final routes. And also we had a lot of information from yesterday. We knew the finalists, we knew the names, we knew the climbers. So we did some testing just to remind the routes, because we climbed on them 3 weeks ago. And also we had good help from Klemen Becan, strong climber from Slovenia. So he could climb on them as well and give us feedback.
And I know we talked about this last night, but for people that weren't watching, you actually set these routes 3 weeks ago, because we've had the paraclimbing and the French National Championships, so there's been a backlog of route setting. So, yeah, you set these 3 weeks ago when you hadn't seen Vilar and Chamonix.
Yeah, this was a little tricky for us because we didn't have the information and we didn't have the knowledge we have now. Of course, I haven't been setting in Villars and in Chamonix, but I was watching very closely, and also I had some phone calls with the chief route setters, and we were discussing. They gave me a lot of feedback and a lot of information, so I was trying to use it and did a good job here.
And we've got very unusual list of finalists, particularly on the men's side. Does that make it more difficult for you when you don't know the climbers as well?
Yeah, it changes a little bit, because once the field is different than you expect, the whole route is different. It doesn't mean that we set for concrete climbers, but it just means the level of the route can be different. The point where the route starts being tricky and risky, it can be lower or higher. It just depends who is in the final.
Okay, Jan, we've got our first climber out onto the wall, so we'll let you go. But thank you very much for your time. Always appreciate it.
No problem. It was a pleasure.
Always good to hear from the route setters. Appreciate Jan Zabranek's time. Always willing to come on the stream, which we really appreciate. Carlos Brasco, our chief route setter, I mentioned earlier on, from Spain, here in Briançon, and a very strong team. Jan's been a frequent chief himself.
Yeah, he'll be featuring on the World Championships team as well.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the route setting teams now we find are so strong that the chief is, ultimately it comes down to them, but really it could be anyone.
Yeah,
it's very much a democracy, I think, in most teams these days.
Exactly. I think they switch who's the chief depending on how the other one's feeling during the day.
Who fancies doing the interviews, yeah. Jan taking one for the team and coming on the stream, both in the semi-finals and this evening. So Hidemasa Nishida is underway. 2 fourth places to round out the 2018 season, but then missed the finals in Villars and missed the finals in Chamonix. And here he is in Briançon. Mike, can't help getting slightly nervous seeing this. We had a very tricky section on the men's route, 9 or 10 moves up yesterday, across a slopey triangular volume, not dissimilar from that one.
Yeah, it's possibly the same volume actually, just moved around a little bit on the wall, but yeah, this one I think the route set have just changed up the style a little bit on the men's competition from last night. It's slightly less kind of low percentage moves on occasions, a bit more sequencing and a bit more technique, as they like to describe in French, a bit more technical. And so this is actually one of the really interesting sequences here, getting that crimp with your left hand, crossing under with your right and then rolling through. So it is possible the other way around, having the holds around the other way, but this is the way that the route setters wanted to do it. So Hidemasa actually looks like he's reading this bottom sequence really nicely.
Yeah, already looks physical though. He had a tricky move up to the first of those pink and black triangular volumes.
Yeah, those two quick draws actually really close to each other, which I think potentially, if you're not completely comfortable in that situation, you're going to find a couple of kind of long draws just kind of getting wrapped in your body a little bit. As we're seeing there, he's just got his leg, kind of just got to work it around the rope a little bit there as well.
Suddenly the crowd come to life. 2 minutes of his time elapsed. He's setting a pretty good pace. He's on the 45-degree overhanging section of this Briançon wall. It's a similar profile to the wall in Chamonix. Plumb vertical at the start, begins to kick back to about 10 degrees overhang, and then a long section at 45, and then kicks back again to 10 degrees overhanging at the top.
Yeah, this is one of the first sort of high-risk moves here. We've got a long right foot out quite far out to the right, which he has just seen. Kind of similar to that move we were talking about in the men's semi-final, punching up to a blocked crimp. Gets it done nicely though and drops into that left toe hook.
Hidemasa Nishida going well here. He's got 6 minutes as ever on a lead route and over 3 of it remaining. See just how hard he's having to work though. No moves have been gimmies and there haven't really been any proper rests so far. Big move up. The right hand, all the weight going through your shoulder, and that does not look a comfortable clipping position. Luckily he managed to get it done with only a very small fumble. Crowd really coming alive now. They know this is a really good effort from Hidemasa Nishida. Could he claim his first World Cup podium after the semi-finals last night?
Look at the way he's climbing, Charlie. Just all of a sudden just dropped into another gear all of a sudden there. He was just cruising, then all of a sudden he just sped through those next 2 or 3 moves. I think he's just realised that he's really high up in a final route here in a lead World Cup, and just all of a sudden just started motoring.
Oh, again, goes up full conviction. He hasn't got much choice on that kind of move. And that's not a great rest, but he's managing to get his feet in play and get some weight off his arms, but it takes only the briefest of pauses and then gets on his way again. He's pulling onto the head wall now, Hidemasa Nishida. Choosing to do the clip from quite low down. It'll be quite near the top of his reach, but he does it nicely. Tiny crimp now out on the right, and he's got to head right again around this triangular volume and onto the next one, almost the furthest right volume on the whole of the wall. Now the elbows are coming out. He needs to try and get a rest if he can. Commits again outright. Silhouetted against the Briançon night. Clever use of the feet. And again, he's able to get a bit of the weight off his arms. Powering through the top section. You can see how tired he is, but he just will not give up. There's only one more quick draw to clip, and then he'll be at the top. Needs to keep the feet engaged. He actually just briefly came off the wall, but he did well to keep him in play. Hinamasa Nishida now got another clip to do. Jumped out left. And that is a brilliant first effort on the route. We can make absolutely no judgments from that, because yesterday in the semi-finals, a few climbers came out very, very early on and almost topped the routes. And we thought they'd been undercooked, and as it turned out, we only got one top across both routes. So I make no judgment other than to say that was a superb start from Hinamasa Nishida.
Yeah, the only judgment I'm going to make is on the score, I think. It's around a 39 plus, something like that. An epic battle, I have to say. What a superb start to the men's competition. And it's so hard not to go back to your kind of historical roots when you're sitting here watching your first climber out in the final get 3 or 4 moves away from the top. You start quaking in your boots a little bit. You start looking around for the route sets, see if their frowns are being turned upside down, and all of a sudden he was just absolutely flying on that midsection. Stalled out a little bit on the top. Route started getting a little bit nervous, but like you say, it's absolutely impossible to tell who's going to do what here tonight. So a great show to start.
Yeah, yesterday in the semi-final I thought, oh no, it's going to be 7 or 8 tops on both sides. Nobody topped the men's route and one person topped the women's, so absolutely no idea what that means. We'll have a bit of a better idea after Marcello Bombardi's climb. He won in his first ever final in Chamonix 2017. Again, one of those World Cups you don't forget in a hurry. He's got his 40 seconds observation time as well as the 6 minutes that they had. He's then got 14 seconds when he comes out at the start of his climb to get going again.
I didn't ask the route setters just before the final started if they made any adjustments to the level. So you heard there from the route setting team that they set these a very long time ago. They have had all day to play with the routes. They said that they only adjusted the level slightly, a couple of degrees cooler.
Yeah, it's a really unusual situation, but just because this Briançon wall's been employed for the French National Championship and the Paraclimbing World Championships, which took place earlier this week, the route setters kind of had to take their turn on the wall, and the turn for the lead World Cup setters was 3 weeks ago, which was during the European heat wave, and I was told it was in the mid to high 30 degrees pretty much every day, so they set in terrible conditions without having seen the climbers in action since October in a lead World Cup. So
just to feed into that discussion as well, some of the level of detail the route setters think about. They said, oh, really interesting, last night the wind changed direction halfway through the semi-final, and that really changed the difficulty of the line. So it's just the level of detail these guys have to think about. It's quite extraordinary.
And the worst part is, there's always that element of luck.
Yeah, nice slice of luck.
Yeah, exactly. Don't underestimate it.
You can calculate your best 45 moves you've ever set. If the climbers come out and don't perform as they should, then there's not much you can do about it.
So Marcello Bombardi wasting very little time getting straight on with it.
Yeah, read that sequence perfectly. That was that double cross-through method is exactly how the route setters wanted that move to go.
He's got quite a jerky climbing style. It almost looks like he's struggling long before he is.
Yeah, I'm not sure if just the size of the man, but it does look like he's putting a lot of power down through every single move. And even remember last night we were saying, oh, he looked like he was off there and just kept motoring, kept going and going.
Yeah, he's certainly not short on power. Surely the heaviest competitor in the final. He's much more of a bouldering build. He's a really big guy, Marcello Bombardi. But as I say, World Cup winner and serious contender here in Briançon. I might have expected his compatriot Stefano Gassolfi to be here, but alas he isn't. And Marcello looked like he had to work for that move. The feet cut loose, but he managed to hold on to it.
Yeah, he used bags of power there because he was trying to use this little overlapping volume down low there for his right foot. Tried it as a heel, didn't work, it slipped. Tried it as a toe, that slipped as well. In the end, just try to pounce for it into that side pull that he's got. It's not a good side pull to be pouncing to, so he's done well there to secure that and kind of start to get something back.
Quite amazing where he's able to rest there on a pretty horrendous crimp that he's currently got his right foot on. He's kind of swapping between that and the hole below to rest. Now he's got to find his hands. You can see him biceps doing a lot of work, and that's a big move out to the left. You've got to go full commitment. Slightly different sequence to what we saw from Hinamasa Nishida. Again, he's onto the head wall, and again the crowd are coming to life. You see his cheeks puffing with the effort, betraying just exactly how much energy is going into this. got himself into quite a nice, clever position there, actually.
Yeah, he's just trying to figure out which of those two little jibs to use first. Opts with his right hand on the high one to cross under with the left hand. Not without getting the clip first, though.
I wonder if now he's got himself in an awkward position for this clip here with your forearms kind of at the same, your hands at the same level as your ears. It's pretty hard to clip from there. Really needs to figure this one out. Yeah, looked controlled earlier on, but just seemed to get himself a bit tangled as he pulled onto the head wall.
We were just saying at the preview of the finals routes, very similar to last night. If the climbers make a small mistake in terms of the route reading, the placement of a heel or a toe or the hands, they're going to get punished severely, and you saw that from Marcello. You've got to climb this route perfectly. He had a left heel pinned, and he couldn't really pull up and use that heel to pull into the wall to get the clip. Ended up super bunched. Potentially, if he had a left toe on there rather than a heel, might have been a bit cleaner for him to get through.
Yeah, just because these routes don't have tricks, because they don't have any 360s, because you don't end up facing the crowd or going feet first, doesn't mean they're easy to read or they're straightforward. You've got to get the sequence absolutely right. And what we saw, I think, from Marcello Bombardi was he got himself into an okay position, but he couldn't leave that position, and he also couldn't clip from it.
Yeah.
And then from that stage, he was always going to be in trouble.
And just looking at him as he tries to untie his double figure of 8 knot, really struggling, gives you a good idea of how pumped he was actually up there. So it's it's not as if the route is easy, that's for sure. It's a very, very pumpy line, and even though the first climb around Hidemasa got really high up on the wall, I think to get to the top is an extraordinary battle from that point onwards.
Yeah, it makes you realise that it might only be half a dozen moves, but when you're absolutely fried and you've just done 40 moves to get there, that's still an awfully long way. Now here's Dom and Scoffit. Really, really wanted to get back on top of the podium, and they will not get many better opportunities than this.
I have to say, I'm super nervous about this final tonight because we really do not know who's the hottest guy in town. We just do not know at the moment where everybody is at this stage in the season.
Hidemasa Nishida, by the way, scored a 49 plus. Marcello Bombardi was just 5 moves short of that, 34 plus. And Domen is underway. Actually ended up third in the Lead World Cup overall standings for 2018. Kind of came from nowhere with a late rally. Sealed joint third place as it was in Xiamen.
Another one of those climbers who, after his semi-final climb, pretty much assumed it was nowhere near going to be enough.
Yeah, he lowered down, visibly frustrated, and we could see him in the athletes area as well, chatting to a couple of climbers, looked thoroughly hacked off, and climber after climber came out and just couldn't match or better him, and he ended up in 6th.
It did sort of have a sort of weird, unexpected slip actually in the semi-final route.
Yeah, it was a strange fall he had.
Yeah, he came off looking at both of his hands, he just fired off. Let's hope that's not a sort of skin issue or anything that's going to play into the storyline of his climb tonight. But he said basically he was feeling super good, so this is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, and again, we mentioned this last night. One interesting thing that's come up from chatting to the route setters over the past few days is that the climbers, for some reason, they don't perform quite as well when the final is on a different day to the semi-final. You would imagine that after a full day's rest, climbers would perform much better in the final than if they'd had the semi-final that day, but it's generally felt, obviously it couldn't be proved, it's pretty unscientific, but by the route setters, that they get better performances in the finals if they've had the semi-final that day. Whether that's the climbers not being able to snap into competition mode, it's hard to say, but the climbers have had a long wait to get here. It's 8 o'clock at night here in Briançon, and they've not been on the wall until now. The women won't climb until 9. It's a long day to kill, waiting and lost in your own thoughts.
Well, exactly. It's a long time to think about it. Nice little, almost a sort of campus there. It's a bit of a float in the end off the toe hook from Domen there. Didn't bother using the right foot and pressing it out like we saw from Marcello and Hidemasa. So Domen showing quite a lot of power early on in the route, a lot of confidence.
I have to say, Domen's looking as good on a lead wall as I've seen him for quite some time.
This is the right heel placement that Marcello wasn't very happy with. Domen just goes for a right foot down low there. Had a quick feel of the right heel round on that overlapping volume, quickly calculated it wasn't good enough and moved on. So much cleaner through there than Marcello.
Là, Nico, ça peut être le Cruz qui peut déjanter. Hein.
Yeah, I mentioned that Domen sealed third place in the overall standings last year with that win for him in Xiamen. That was actually his first win since 2016. So he had a winless season in 17. Picked one up in 18. What can he do in 19? He looked really, really strong on this Briançon wall. He won here as well in 2016. Former Briançon winner, looking to make it a brace of victories here. That moves looked hard for all three climbers who've done it. You've got to go full gas. There's no coming back from there if you got it wrong.
Yeah, Hidemasa Nishida's method through there is looking all the more impressive at the moment, as he didn't even bother using that lower left hand initially through that section. Domen's got the clip really wrapped around his harness at the moment. Looks like he's got it, you know.
Yeah, it's now hanging in front of his left groin. Anytime the clip is kind of touching you, it generally makes it a pain. You want the quick draw to be hanging and you can just reach up with one hand and clip it. It did well, but it's not an easy position to clip from when it's right sitting in your waist, in your lap like that.
The way that Domen uses his heel hooks is absolutely perfection. So clinical with his heels. Every time he puts them in, he seems to get something back. Opts for that left heel now changes it to a left toe. So we saw Marcello Bombardi struggling and he just slips again.
Yeah, the right heel never looked solid, and as he went to trust it, it just slipped out from underneath him, and he will be really frustrated with that. He was beginning to look tired, but if he got himself out to the right, we saw Hidemasa Nishida drop a knee and get himself in a bit more of a comfortable position between those two big yellow volumes, and Domen perhaps could have done the same. But yeah, that right heel never quite looked like it was in place.
I have to say, Chad, I do agree, he was starting to look really pumped there. The route really comes alive between the 8th and 9th quick draw, but that was a pretty unexpected fall, to be honest. I wasn't quite ready for that. Let's have another look. So he just changes the left heel to a left toe.
Yeah, so he goes up and he puts his right heel, yeah, just by where his hip was. I don't think he was ever quite sitting on it.
No, it was the right heel. I mean, it's commentator's curse if there ever was one. I'm just saying how awesome he is in his heel hooks. Puts one on and it slips off.
Well, it was more a heel sit, and I don't think he waited it until it really mattered.
Yeah, maybe as a climber he focuses on the heel so much. You've seen him use heel hooks in the past where others have used toe hooks and foot plants and stuff, but in the end he potentially used a heel there where a flat foot might have been a bit better.
So the 2017 Youth A Lead World Champion makes his way onto the wall. We've seen him in finals before, we've never seen him on a podium. Hidemasa Nishida's never been on a podium either, and he's currently topping the rankings with 5 climbers, including this man who's currently on the stage, his compatriot Shooter Tanaka, still to come.
I have to say, it's disappointing there's no golden thrones for the winner's chair here in Briançon.
Everything is a case of budget. Yeah, they've got bouldering mats, which is kind of in keeping with climbing, but yeah, maybe we could go for the snowboard competition style throne. Yeah,
ridiculous
or the hot tub.
I have seen a climbing comp with a hot tub as a podium, actually.
Just need one as a commentary box.
Those were the days.
This is no gimme, this move, actually. We've seen quite a few climbers kind of set themselves to go for it. It's a pretty reasonable edge you're going for, but it's quite blind.
Yeah, slightly nervy start there from Shooter as well. We've seen Domen just really working very quickly through that lower section. Just a bit of hesitation. You either wonder if that's just a hard move or he's just a little bit nervous out there.
Yeah, Shooter just needs to get himself calmed down and into the route. He's been on the wall a minute now, beginning to look slightly smoother after that. As I say, slightly risky move low down. There's no getting away from it, but he did look particularly cautious on it.
Just struggles with the clip a little bit then, almost a Sean McCall clipping moment. The rope just snagged in the gate a little bit. He's got his, I was just about to say his right leg's a little bit tangled in the rope on those long draws, but does kind of unravel out of it quite easily in the end. Everybody up to this point has used the sequence that the route setters expected through there. So this next move is where we saw first 2 climbers using this right foot. The Shooter does use Domen, just floated up off of the volume down low.
Trying to shake out already. it's a really interesting route. We find the climbers are kind of stopping a lot. You call it resting. They're able to stop a lot of the time, just quickly shake out, but there's nowhere where they can really get their hand off for a prolonged period.
Shooter's looking in a bit of trouble here all of a sudden. That does get out of it nicely with a really well worked high right heel.
Yeah, that's the way to do that move. We've seen a couple of climbers have to really smash for that right hand. He was able to do it with much more control, but as you say, he's starting to really look tired now. Team Japan come alive, trying to encourage him. This is where Marcello Bombardi rested, but the left-hand crimp is so poor.
Alors on va voir si ils ont lu ensemble et lui aussi va être capable de tracer droit.
Domen managed to get a good rest here as well. It's this left heel that really is giving the climbers something.
Yeah, as I say, the angle and the fact that that left hand hold is so poor, it's a pretty substandard rest. 3 minutes now remaining of his 6.
It's interesting, look at the way he's resting. To rest his left hand, he drops his right foot down. To rest his right hand, he puts his right heel up. It's quite interesting the method he's having to use. There he goes, right heel goes up to drop the right hand off, just to make space.
Now he launches into it. Here goes Shooter Tanaka, the Briançon crowd cheer him as he pushes toward what is proven to be probably the crux section. You've got to read it right, you've got to execute it, and you've got to do it quickly as well. That's the second move that other climbers have made look very committing, that Shooter's made look very, very smooth.
Didn't use the lower left foot there, didn't seem to need it because his right heel was tucked in so tight on this grey volume. He's looked pumped from quite a few moves ago, but somehow he's still pushing on here.
Well, he definitely paused for the longest of anyone on the rest down there. He's got the clips done.
So where Domen placed a really high right heel, Shooter looks like he's going to go low. There is a right foot available for him to just pounces out for it.
That's going to put him into second place. That was the move where we lost Marcello and Domen. And here's Shooter Tanaka heading for a new high point after something of a shaky start on the route. He's really come into his own on the upper section. Gets the two joint volumes, commits up with the right crimp but can't quite hold it. That's a brilliant effort from Shooter and he knows it. That'll put him into a pretty comfortable second place. He's going to take some beating, to be honest, because it looked so pumped low down and did fantastically well to get something back in his arms.
Yeah, again, between the 8th and 9th clip, just looks absolutely boxed all of a sudden. I was pretty surprised if you're going to get many more moves than that, especially when he jumped out to that big side pull just under the angle change. I thought surely that is it. But it just showed that sometimes the way that the climbers shake out, they may look completely flamed, but he actually has a fair bit left. Either that or he's just got the world's most extraordinary recovery in one heel hook and a couple of handholds next to each other, and he managed to get 90% of his fitness back. That was quite a really interesting climb there from Shooter. Really enjoyed that one. So did he.
Yeah, so half the male finalists gone now. We've had Hidemasa Nishida, Marcello Bombardi, Domen Skoffic, and just now Shooter Tanaka. As it stands, it's Hidemasa Nishida leading the way, 39 plus for him, 38 plus for Shooter Tanaka, and then tied on 34 plus. Domen Skoffic and Marcello Bombardi. Domen moving ahead on count back to the previous round. Sean McCall will be next out of Canada. See a few of his compatriots and near compatriots for the American team as well. Not too far from our commentary position. Sean just being made to wait behind the wall.
Yeah, look at him, he's just describing to the absolutely huge crowd here what's going on up there in the sequence. It's just laser penning a few of the top holes just to talk through what's what up there, and someone who definitely knows what to talk about, Francois Legrand, doing the MC work here alongside Christopher, the other legend of the MCing game in France. As we wait for Sean McCall.
Yeah, he's a pretty good expert to have alongside him, Francois Legrand. Picked up one or two things from him. I just sort of lift my headphones off to listen to what he's saying.
Il gagne depuis 2011. Champion du monde en vitesse à Gantleux.
Again, still waiting. Now the cameraman's managed to find him backstage. Makes life tricky though, being made to wait like this.
Ouais, la plupart des titres.
I think Sean McCall is going to come out and put an extraordinary battle into this route.
Yeah,
les titres du combiné.
he was back in the finals last week in Chamonix. He's generally seems to go reasonably well here, Briançon. You might remember him picking up a third place in 2016. Spent a long time in France, lived here for a while, speaks the language perfectly, feels very at home here. He's going to get a lot of support. And that is the scene, that is a wonderful sight, the big wall here in Briançon with the mountains of the Écran and the Kira visible behind.
Ce serait vraiment dommage de ne pas avoir Sean McCall.
So nice, in fact, Mike, that you were supposed to go home tomorrow and just decided you couldn't really think of a good reason to do that, so you stayed a bit longer. Mike Langley available for beers in Briançon if anyone wants to buy him one in the next week.
Let's see how this final goes first.
Here comes Sean McCall. Game face firmly on. Often we see Sean really kind of pumping the crowd up and smiling and waving. This time it's the briefest of waves and gets on with it. And like you say, Mike, I think he really fancies this one.
Yeah, a potential early mistake in the Chamonix finals just last week. Maybe he's learned from that. Let's see.
Yeah, his face afterwards told the story in Chamonix. He just kind of slithered off a hold, having misread a sequence.
Pulls off the floor with the actual quick draw, the rope in his mouth. Don't see that too often at this level of the game. Skips the first right-hand side pull as well, straight off the floor. Now he uses it. Just get ready for the speed that is Sean McCall through this lower section.
Yeah, this is the first tricky move. You just got to go for it. There we go. I think he knew it was a move he had to go for, but he didn't waste too much time going for it. A lot of shouts now coming from the crowd all of a sudden. That springy style of Sean McCall's that people so enjoy watching. No mistakes so far. 50 seconds of his time gone. Unlikely to be troubled by the clock, Sean, given his climbing style, but we'll keep an eye on it anyway. Very solid so far, Mike. Haven't seen any mistakes, any issues, any misreads.
Yeah, it's always hard to tell with Sean if that's just his climbing style or he is putting a lot of power down through every single move.
Seems to have got everything pretty much spot on so far, apart from that clip.
Yeah, just fumbled that clip. It almost went in, but didn't quite. It's going to be interesting to see what he does through the right foot through this next move, through to this pinch.
Got lucky last night, managed to get the rope caught in a quick draw and it clipped in as he fell off. Go back and you watch the semi-final replay and you'll see what I mean.
Will he take a rest here?
Yeah, I think is he using the Shooter Tanaka method of using the heel hook to rest right hand? No, he's just getting straight on with it. Will he live to regret that? Choosing to take essentially no rest, basically chalked up and then carried on straight through.
Seems to be blowing pretty hard now.
Yeah, suddenly Sean having to work hard. We've seen this with all the climbers as they've got between the 8th and the 9th quick draw and begun to get themselves onto the head wall, and they've really had to work. But Sean's rocketed up the lower section, only used 2 minutes 10 seconds, and he pulls onto the head wall. Now he's got to try and get this clip done, and then when he moves out right, if he can get the move out to the right done, he might be able to get himself in a reasonably comfortable body position.
Looks like he's going to go right before clipping.
He is, and this is what I mean. You can push off the volume with your right foot, and there's something for your left. And
it's high risk here.
It is high risk because he also needs to get the clip done.
He's going to potentially climb himself into a position where he can't reverse to get the quick draw. If he does clip from this position, it'll be quite extraordinary.
I think he's planning to get his right hand where his left is and then clip from there. That, I guess, is the theory. And it doesn't quite work for Sean McCall. I think he enjoyed that. You don't see many reactions like that. Sean McCall as pumped up, I think, as I've ever seen him. I gave that route everything, barely paused for breath.
Yeah, massive. We're almost a little bit lost for words. That was absolutely brilliant from Sean McCall. So good to watch. Crowd really loved it. Big screams, just letting all that adrenaline come out right at the ground. he just basically climbed himself into what was basically a terrifying position, which I think added into his adrenaline there as he came off. It's hard to know with Sean. He's so clever with his climbing. He probably knew that he couldn't have got the clip without falling off, so quested off higher into the wall to get the points. It'd be interesting to see where the judges deem was the highest possible hold that he could have clipped from.
Well, I think he could definitely have clipped from where he was. So I don't think there'll be any stopping his score at a certain point. We'll see as it comes through, but I'm sure he could have clipped from where he was, but it would have been such an awkward clip.
Yeah, you could see actually. I think that was actually really clever from Sean. On his way, almost on his way off, slightly before his left foot landed, he touched the quick draw with his right hand on the way off, which may have been a quick calculation from him to show the judges that it is possible to touch this quick draw. If you can touch it, you can clip it. Whether you've got enough left in the arms to clip it or not is a different story.
Yeah, remember you can't climb past the last clippable position, and that clippable position is determined by the route setters, and they inform the judges. So you can't just think, right, I'm getting boxed now, I'm not going to clip any more quick draws and I'll take the big fall. You've got to clip all the quick draws, and if you go beyond the last clippable position, the score stops improving.
And I've just seen 3 IFSC technical officials running over to the route setting team to discuss exactly that.
Still waiting for Sean's score to come through, by the way, but Will Bosey's on the stage now. It'll still be Hidemasa Nishida leading the way. I told you we didn't need to be nervous when the first climber came out and smashed his way almost to the top.
I think if the whatever the decision of the judges, unless they give him the high point that he actually scored with his hands, there will probably be an appeal, I imagine.
I think you're probably right, yeah. Still waiting for that to come through. By my look at our route map, I don't want to do the judges' work for them. I think that'll probably be a 38 or a 38 plus, depending on how exactly he fell. So it'll be in the region of second place for Shooter Tanaka.
Yeah, it'll either be up where he was, or it'll be around 33 and 34. Ooh, big difference.
Very big difference,
You get
yeah.
past that point, past hold 34, which is a 2 crimps on the volume, you go outright, you definitely can't clip it out from there. So yeah, he'll be either really high on the wall or quite low on the wall.
Lead climbing summarised nicely in one sentence.
And don't let go of the holds, is that part of climbing?
You'll either fall low, high, or in the middle, and don't let go. There we go. I don't know what we find so difficult. Here's Will Bosey on the, again, you mentioned it earlier, there's 2 clips really close together. I suppose it's because it's more than possible to fall at the angle change, and then you step out right, and it's the last logical place to put a quick draw. So, not quite climbing at the speed of Sean McCall, but then who does? Yeah, still no sign of Sean's score. I do suspect that's because there are discussions going on.
Yeah, there are many officials that all still gathered around the
yeah, I could see Carlos Brasco, actually, our chief route setter, mimicking the movement Sean was doing, so there's clearly some element of debate. We'll come back to that later, because right now we've got Will Bosey on the wall. 1 minute 40 elapsed of his time, so bags of time remaining if he chooses to take a rest. So we saw Shooter Tanaka rest for ages there. Will, I don't think it's quite a knee bar. I don't think that the inside of his right knee is really on anything, but he might be getting something out of it.
Yeah, sometimes just a knee tucked against the hand can just give you a little bit of stability, but Will's actually looking super fresh right now. Not even a glimpse of a kind of quiver or anything through the arms or the feet, and does that right toe really nicely all the way through. 3 moves there for Will. That saved him a lot of energy on that really hard undercut move. He looks like he's going to get the clip from the sensible position off the left hand pinch there. He gets the hard clip done. That's the clip that Marcello Bombardi also struggled on alongside Sean McCall.
Just to let you know, Sean McCall's score did come through. He has been awarded a 38. Here goes Will Bosey. Oh, that looked like it might have been in the balance there. Now the crowd come alive. They're thinking, could we see a new high point? And so are we. Will Bosey, the fatigue beginning to kick in now, but he definitely looks like he's got some energy left. Will Bosey going really well. That is hold 38. Oh, and he was so close, and I think it was a mistake rather than fatigue.
It was a foot swap. He tried to swap his feet, and he's really toed down on the top of that yellow triangle, had his left toe on it. Needed to get this foot swap in place. just as he foot swapped, he almost, well, it looked like he kicked his left foot off with his right foot. Such a tenuous position to clip from. He held the cut loose for a second, and it wasn't enough to recover, unfortunately. I'm sure we'll see that again. Was just in the feet.
Well, I have to say, when he sees the scores and what would have been required for first place, he might be doubly frustrated because he looked a lot fresher than when Hidemasa Nishida got up there.
Yeah, the handholds up there are so bad, you can't afford any foot slips or mistakes with the feet at all. Shakes the hand of the dealer.
Nice touch. What a gent. Let's have a look. Yeah, 38, so count back to the previous round. Puts him ahead of Sean McCall. So as it stands, he would be on the podium.
Let's have another look. So you see the left toe there at the moment, dialed in. Then he goes to the foot swap. The left toe actually pops, and the right foot just smeared on the volume. In real time, I thought it was actually as he swapped his feet on the hole, but it was just before. It was as he was going to swap his feet, his left foot just twisted off. When your foot is completely covering a foothold like that, the only way to get it to foot swap is actually twist the toe off of the hold to make room for the other foot. In twisting it, I think he twisted it off the wall, twisted it off the edge of the hold.
It was only for the briefest of seconds, but Shuta Tanaka also had the same thing. His feet very briefly came off the wall, but it was slightly more controlled than Will. He was able to get it back on. So Hiroto Shimizu. Only other final was Briançon right here last year in the Parc des Sports, south of Briançon Town Centre.
Hidemasa already confirmed on the podium. This guy plus one more still to go.
Making the most of every second of his 40 to get on the wall. We saw, trying to remember who it was last night, got the hurry on from the judges. Overstepped their 40 seconds.
Yeah, Marcello actually.
Marcello, yeah. I remember one of the judges running on, basically booted him.
I've seen the guy with the stopwatch just a few metres off to our side. Deadly serious.
Et sa seule finale, c'était ici à Briançon.
It's not an easy job, the old stopwatch.
Et fini 8e.
Le Japon, c'est que c'est un pays qui met tellement en valeur ses grimpeurs. Des grimpeurs comme lui, au niveau japonais.
Hiroto, second to last climber, only Sean Bailey still to come. After him, Sean Bailey, I mean, and Hiroto, what a position they find themselves in. The route's not been topped. Will Bosi, I think, could certainly have pulled, I think he could probably have topped the route, certainly had a bit of gas left. They've got a massive opportunity here.
Yeah, this is going to be about dealing with the occasion, alongside the difficulty of the route, rather than just the difficulty of the route. These guys who've not seen much finals actions before, not seen it climbed maybe in front of crowds this huge before. Obviously Sean Bailey has made Boulder World Cup finals before in Vale, so he knows how to deal with a loud crowd. But yeah, let's see what Hiroto can make of it.
It's interesting enough, by the way, Sean McCall was a million miles off getting to the top of the steep section after a minute and 30 seconds. Hiroto just getting onto it, completely different cadence to his climbing. You can see, by the way, Sean McCall and Domin just comparing notes actually over on the bouldering mats where the climbers who've already competed are.
Il avait fait dernier de la finale, donc il peut qu'améliorer son score maintenant.
Hiroto just got himself a little bit tied up there, does well to get himself out of it.
Very slow up to this stage.
It's the only climber where you think time actually could be a factor. Is he playing to his strengths? Has he got uber endurance?
Yeah, watching him last night in the semi-finals, this is his style. Slow and steady, he wins the race for him. Let's just check down the time. I wonder if he's going to hit the panic button any minute soon.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's got 3:30 left. Yeah, it could be time for time. And that's for sure the first climb we've said that about.
Il prend son temps. Ouais, il y va plus tranquille. Hein. On sent qu'il y a plus d'expérience que les deux jeunes d'avant.
On a parlé de vitesse, bah lui il a pas l'air de s'inquiéter, lui ce qu'il veut c'est la voir.
Yeah, still resting, so he's coming up for half of his time remaining.
He doesn't seem to be completely convinced of what to do there. Does go for the float method, as we saw with Doran, not using that right jib out on the right, just to be just lower than his right foot, as we can see it there.
Yeah, just to give you a heads up actually, that hold he's got now, we think is number 22. Of course, it's a slightly fluid judging system. The judges may change it slightly if somebody uses what was a foothold as a handhold, but he's somewhere around halfway on the route, and he's got 2:40 left on the clock, so although he has got bags of endurance, he probably needs to get a move on if he wants to top the route.
Il lâche un peu d'énergie quand même en cherchant trop le placement parfait.
C'est comme ça.
Now, will he take a long rest here? Saw shooter Tanaka pause for a good minute or so here. Hiroto chooses to get on with things.
He's sort of going for that classic outdoor style of just resting your way up the route, trying to do every sequence as cleanly, as smoothly and as efficiently as possible.
Again, turns to look at the clock. He's got 2 minutes. He has got time to do this, there's no doubt about it, but he's certainly the first climber who will really have to take any notice of the clock. As you say, Mike, more or less resting the whole way up. Crowd cheer now. 140 left for him.
He doesn't look too comfortable leaving this position. He's very comfortable in the position, but doesn't want to leave it at the moment. He's got a really hard undercut screw-on move to do that he is going to do now. From this point onwards, it's going to be a pure fight to the top, you would have thought, based on what we've seen from the other athletes. Can he rest his way up this top head wall?
Very hard to imagine he could, but he's got so much endurance, clearly, that he's got to start putting it to use. He just turned to look at the clock again, and the look on his face didn't look too distressed. Suddenly, almost instantaneously, the cheeks begin to puff, and he's having to work really hard all of a sudden. Again, choosing to pause and have a little shake. Has he timed this perfectly, or has he gone a little bit too slowly? We're about to find out. If he's going to go for it, I'd imagine now is the time.
Yeah, with just 48 seconds left, he needs to get going here if he's got any chance of getting a new high point.
So Hiroto will fire out to the right. The feet cut loose, but he manages to control it up onto the first of 4 triangular volumes. Time a real factor here. 32 seconds left on the clock for him. Crosses through with the right hand. He's definitely got time for a new high point, and he could just about have time for the top if he really gets motoring. I'll about to see a new high point. That's hold 39 coming up. There it is. He will be another 38 plus alongside shooter Tanaka, but he'll move into second place due to his result in the semi-final.
Yeah, just where it came undone, and he had the same foot swap issues as we've seen with a couple of the other guys, especially from Will. I have to say, the way that he paced the route, I think he paced it perfectly for the amount of endurance he had on the route. I don't think he actually could have gone any further, and he couldn't have gone much further because he didn't have any time. 17 seconds is what was left on the clock, and I think he judged it perfectly for the amount of energy that he actually had on the line.
Yeah, so the hold he went for is number 39, and Hidemasa Nishida, who's currently leading the way, has a 39 plus, so he latched that and moved off it. So if Sean Bailey can match him, he will win. We'd love to see a top though. So last climber out with the possibility of surpassing Hidemasa.
Yeah, this is where we got to on the route then. Did actually manage to get that foot swap in, but you can see just a couple of moves lower down, elbows are up, and he was looking particularly pumped at that point.
Now we have just one climber before the end of this final, but he's young. He's from United States of America. He did final. Please welcome Sean Bailey.
Here comes Sean Bailey of the United States. The last climber out, he's got to get a 39 plus or better to win the competition. A few years ago, I think people were predicting a gold medal filled future for Sean Bailey, and it hasn't happened just yet, but he has got an absolutely fabulous opportunity here.
Mais c'est son seul résultat en finale de Coupe du Monde de bloc.
Il fait 5 à Briançon en diff et 4 à Villars.
Ouais. En revanche, c'est un vrai, il a un profil de grimpeur de difficulté. Et puis ça fait plaisir parce que depuis 2 ans on le voyait plus trop. Et là,
Sean Bailey then, final climber on the wall in the men's competition. After this, it will be the women's final. 39 plus the high point from Hidemasa Nishida, first climber out. Hiroto Shimazu and Shuta Tanaka. Japan 1, 2 and 3 at the moment. Can Sean McCall from the USA be the climber that breaks the Japanese deadlock on the podium?
Mais par rapport aux Américains que tu viens de citer, les Sharma et compagnie, qui sont des masses musculaires, il fait beaucoup moins de falaises.
Alors l'année dernière, on avait lui, Kai Leitner, il y en a des jeunes qui ont disparu du décor. Et aux États-Unis, c'est un peu spécial la gestion de l'escalade. Hein. En fait, on croit que c'est une grosse équipe américaine, mais en fait, ils sont un peu cantonnés et divisés dans les différents
Just
États.
searching his options on this lower volume, we have seen it. That volume used in 2 different ways, on the left side and the right side for the right hand. Doesn't seem to make too much difference to the difficulty of the move.
Ça s'organise un petit peu mieux depuis quelques temps. En général, sinon, c'était vraiment des grimpeurs qui géraient eux-mêmes.
Just looking over, there's a lot of people from America here. They brought a huge team to the paraclimbing World Championships earlier this week. They've got a big team here for the Lead World Cup as well.
If you are Sean Bailey at the start of the season, 3rd World Cup, you're going to be the final climber out in front of what could potentially be 10,000 or so people. I think he would have taken that.
I think he certainly would have taken that. And especially if you said that so many of his potentially big rivals would have either stayed at home or fluffed the semi-final, I think he'd have been doubly happy. This is an enormous opportunity for Sean Bailey. 1 minute 45 left on the clock for him. So just to let you know, he is tied with, in the previous rounds, with Hiroto Shimazu, but our current leader Hidemasa Nishida he's not tied with, so if he can, in previous rounds, so if he can match Hidemasa Nishida's 39 plus, he'll win on countback.
Sean Bailey looking a little bit nervous on this right heel at the moment. Goes for the super powerful pound smith. You can see all of a sudden his right foot was just quivering under the...
Yeah, didn't read that quite as well as some of the other climbers who've managed to do it. Much more control than that. You can see the feet cut loose, and even when you hold a move like that, you can't help but have a slight skip of a heartbeat.
Yeah, absolutely. Gone from looking super chilled on the wall to looking really in the game all of a sudden here.
So this is where it gets pretty serious. Another big move out left. He does well with. Sean beginning to feel the pump. Briefly chalks up. Didn't look like he actually got much chalk on his hand. Goes up to the left crimp now. When will he get the clip done? That was one of the things that cost Sean McCall earlier on. What can Sean Bailey do?
Climbed into this really awkward position, but does manage just to tuck back in on the right arm and get that long orange quick draw, gets it done.
Yeah, not ideal. I think his leg was actually creating a bit of rope drag there, pushed against the wall, and he goes out right. And Sean Bailey can't find a way out right, and it is Hidemasa Nishida who takes the win. It is an all-Japanese podium. It is Hidemasa Nishida, Hiroto Shimazu, and Shuta Tanaka. That'll put Sean Bailey down in 6th place. Slightly unusual on how he felt, Mike. He seemed to be pumped but in control and really lunged out to the right.
Yeah, again, it was around quick draw number 8, something like that, with he had that right heel round on the side of the volume that we've seen some climbers use and some people go to use and then quickly rethink. He all of a sudden he had to go super tight, super tense, jump for the big pinch. From that point onwards, he looked kind of slightly in panic mode on the route, I would have thought. And yeah, when he got into that awkward clipping position, decided not to clip off that left pinch for the long quick draw. As soon as he went out into those little shoulders, those little screw-on jibs on the top of the volume, he had to fight really hard to get that long quick draw, and from that point onwards, all of a sudden the elbows were up, and it was bad news from there on, unfortunately.
So the climbers just being presented to the crowd, our top 3 does. An all-Japanese top 3. They had 3 men in the men's semi-final, and they've taken the 3 medals. Shuta Tanaka in 3rd place, Hiroto Shimazu in 2nd, and Hidemasa Nishida wins a World Cup for the first time. He'd never even been on a podium before. So just to let you know that we'll have the climbers presented to the crowd, which we've just had. I'll be grabbing a word with Hidemasa Nishida live, and then we'll have a short break, and then we'll repeat the process we had earlier on, where the women will be introduced to the crowd, then they'll have their observation, and then they'll have their final.
Où il y a des changements, des breaks, et ben là cette année on a vraiment compris un vrai changement et on va le comprendre dans la finale féminine.
So there you can see it, Hidemasa Nishida 39 plus was enough to do it. There was another 5 moves available on the wall that nobody could access. 39 plus for him, 38 plus for Hiroto Shimizu. He beats his compatriot Shuta Tanaka into 3rd place on count back to the previous rounds, scoring 38, Will Bosi and Sean McCall, and then tied up 34 plus Sean Bailey, Domin Skofic and Marcello Bombari. Well, as I say, if anyone had told me, anyone predicted before the weekend that the podium would be Hidemasa Nishida, Hiroto Shimizu and Shuta Tanaka, then get yourself down to the casino, because you are on a winning streak.
Will Bosi ended up in 4th position, same as last week. Bit of dominance on 4th this season for him. We'll be shortly getting a word with Hidemasa Nishida. Interesting route really in the men's competition. A real one for the guys strong on the crimps. Pretty steady sequences, and in the end, no top. Good high point though, and a route that was a classic bit of route climbing really. Good pumpy challenge. No tricks, no circus moves, no parkour. Some good old fashioned cross throughs. Some hard 4-finger crimping. That's what we want to see. Interesting the way that the route setters can play with the styles week in, week out, challenging the climbers in all different ways, one week after another. With so many big names missing here in the men's competition, it was so interesting to see who was going to take it, but what Hidemasa Nishida who takes it, so let's hear from him now.
Hidemasa, huge congratulations. You were the first climber out and you set the high point. That was an incredible performance.
今日は本当におめでとうございます。一番最初に出てきて最後まで残ったおめでとう。
ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much.
And what was the route like? It looked like there were no really big rests. It just kept coming.
今日のルートはどんな感じでしたか？
結構持久力でしんどかったです。
It needed a lot of endurance and it was really hard for me.
Well, he had a lot of endurance and he won the gold medal. Big congratulations.
持久力ずいぶんありましたね。本当におめでとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
Fantastic. Thank you.
Always good to hear from the winner there, Hidemasa Nishida, going through the translator. Charlie Busco will shortly be making his way back to the commentary position. We'll be taking a short break before we bring you the women's competition. So do stay with us, the women's final will be coming very, very shortly. Just a quick short break here whilst the DJ and the local MCs get the crowd pumped. We're going to head for a quick cup of tea and a biscuit, and we'll see you very, very shortly. Do not leave your living rooms. This is going to be a brilliant show in the women's final coming very shortly.
toucher. Monsieur, touchez les filets. Allez, s'il vous plaît, le public, enjoy. On profite un peu. Allez, elles sont là, les stars, de l'escalade. La Slovénie contre l'Asie. On vous aime, Briançon, vous êtes énormes. Touche-la. Oh, elles sont costauds, elles sont injectées, elles sont en pleine forme. Et ça va être chaud ce soir. J'adore voir vos têtes, les yeux brillent, tout le monde est heureux. Alors lui, il n'est pas vraiment heureux, mais ça va venir. T'es heureux, toi? Touche-la, touche-la. Vas-y. Vas-y, on en profite. D'habitude, on fait pas comme ça. On aura peut-être des médaillés olympiques, des jeunes qui vont cartonner au championnat du monde. You can touch her. Voilà, là, il doit aller faire le câlin à Nina Artaud. Encouragez la française, on va être un peu chauvin. Monsieur, touchez la française. Ça va nous porter bonheur. Eh, Briançon, vous êtes extraordinaire. Monsieur, régalez-vous ce soir. Allez, là, c'est les filles. Les filles, et derrière moi, la première qui me suit, c'est Vita Lucan. Vita Lucan, she's follow me. Et regardez, la détente des Slovènes. Allez, le monsieur. J'adore. Monsieur, elle est là. Regarde, elle est là, monsieur. Monsieur, il est en reconnaissance. Tiens, file-leur des pizzas. Vita, it's for you. File à Nina, file des pizzas. Il faut se réveiller. Elles sont là. Oh, messieurs, là, on les applaudit, s'il vous plaît. Parce que l'IFSC, ils sont tendus, messieurs, dames, en direct à la télé. Alors, juste François, pour expliquer, François, ce qui se passe en ce moment dans le monde de l'escalade, il y a vraiment quelque chose d'incroyable chez les filles. C'est du jamais vu. Alors attention, on a décidé pour Yania Gambret de faire comme dans Harry Potter et l'appeler Tu sais qui. Parce que tu sais
We're back. Welcome back to Briançon. Men's final concluded, an all-Japanese podium. And here is how the women will line up. They've got 3 Slovenians in the final. What odds, an all-Slovenian podium. Vita Lucan will be out first. She'll be followed by Frenchwoman Nina Artaud. Then we've got Ashima Shireshi of the United States. Yutong Jang of China. Mia Krampel, Yanya Gambret, both of Slovenia. And then Japanese climber Natsuki Tani and the Korean sensation Chae-Yun Seo. That is the lineup for the women's final. Vita Lucan, I can just see the youth world champion from Moscow last year, waiting to be introduced to the crowd. There she is. Cameraman's done well to find her. First final was Cranj 2017, and her best result in a Lead World Cup came here in Briançon in 2018. 6th place last year, right here in the Parc des Sports.
On aura ce soir 3 Slovènes. Les Slovènes, on sait qu'elles sont fortes. On aura donc 4
So Vita Lucan will be the first climber out. Then Nina Artaud, Ashima Shirashi, Yutong Jang, Mia Krampel, Yanya Gambret, Natsuki Tani, and Chae-Yun Seo. Vita Lucan looking like she's quite enjoying the prospect of coming up on the stage. Doesn't make life easy, having to wait while you get the big build-up. As you saw, we also had the flags brought through the crowd again. Women will be climbing over on the left. 42 moves for them. It was 45 for the men in theory. Nobody actually ended up getting to hold 40, but 45 in theory. Theoretically for the women, we've got 42.
Alors messieurs, dames, attention, la première, elle était en finale à Briançon l'année dernière, elle a fait finale à Cranj.
So, as ever, the climbers coming in reverse order. It'll be very strange, I have to say, to see Yanya Gambret coming out 3rd to last. but she was beaten in the qualifiers by Natsuki Tani, and she was beaten in the qualifiers and the semi-finals by Cheon-seo. She won in Chamonix last week, and she was second in Villars, and she is leading the very early rankings for the season. Vita Lucan now has been introduced and is on the stage. Nina Arto waiting to come out. Here she comes, first lead World Cup final for her. It was only her second semi-final yesterday evening.
She did one podium. She was 5th position in Chamonix last week. Elle avait fait 2e en Chine en 2017, 4e à Cham et 4e à Briançon. Mais cette demoiselle est une légende dans le monde depuis l'âge de 11 ans. Representing United States of America, Ashima Shiraishi.
Here comes the Shima. Made finals in her first 7 lead World Cups, but she has still never won one. Best finish in a lead World Cup of 2nd in China last October. And speaking of China, here's Yutong Jiang.
Representing China, please welcome Yutong Jiang, 16 years old.
Made her first final just 7 days ago in Chamonix and took 2nd place there. What can she do here in the Hautes-Alpes, in the Southern Alps of France?
Elle, c'est vraiment une grimpeuse de difficulté slovène. 6e en Chine l'année dernière, 4e en Chine, 5e à Villars cette année.
Next up, we've got a climber who's already given us one of the moments of the 2019 season when she battled through the Munich final almost on one leg. Mia Krampel, never been on the lead World Cup podium.
Coupe la musique. Coupe la musique. Elle a tout gagné en bloc, c'est du jamais vu dans l'histoire de l'escalade. Personne n'avait gagné toutes les coupes du monde de bloc la saison.
Now we talk about big intros to venue MC, just explaining in French to the French crowd that we're about to see a woman who won every Boulder World Cup this season, a feat which had never been achieved before. 26-time World Cup winner Janja Garnbret has work to do after the semi-final and the qualification round. She is in the unusual position perhaps of going into this final not as the favourite.
Representing Japan, she's 16 years old too. Please welcome Natsuki Tani.
Natsuki Tani, the 7th climber out, did the double in the Youth World Championships in 2018 of lead and boulder. That is no mean feat when you think of the competition. She was 8th in Chamonix, 8th in Villars. Her 3rd final in the space of 14 days.
Mesdames et messieurs, representing Korea, 16 years old, Cheon-seo.
Cheon-seo of South Korea, 2nd in her 1st ever World Cup in Villars and then won her 2nd World Cup in Chamonix. She's most people's favourite to win here this evening, but I think there's 1 or 2 women in that lineup who will have something to say about that. So observation begins for the women. I think quite sensibly you might be able to see the Briançon organisers sending people on stage to prevent the climbers falling off backwards as they study the route. But yeah, 6 minutes begins. And after a very quiet men's observation with minimal communication, what will we see this time?
Yeah, 3 Slovenians in the final. We talked about the 3 Japanese guys all observing individually rather than as a team, and the 3 Slovenian women all working together instantly there.
Yeah, they've instantly teamed up, and interestingly enough, Natsuki Tani, Cheon-seo and Yutong Jiang have also teamed up.
Yeah, China, Korea and Japan all together. I wonder which language they're
yeah,
opting for.
I was kind of pondering that.
Is that the international climbing language of this one, that one, this one?
Everyone knows what a boffin move means, don't they?
Crimp, jug, crimp.
Yeah, get that. Get that, get that. So yeah, Vita Lucan, by the way, just nipped off to the side and has come back with new information for the other 2 climbers. So the Slovenians working very closely together. Here you can see Mia Krampel on the left, Janja Garnbret in the middle, and Vita Lucan on the right. Nina Arto and Ashima, as it stands, the only 2 climbers kind of doing their own thing. Natsuki Tani and Cheon-seo. Again, comparing notes, Yutong Jiang now just quietly studying the route through her binoculars. Mike, you had a word with Carles, our chief route setter on the women's route. What have we got in store?
So yesterday the women and the men's route were slightly different in styles. the men had the bigger fiberglass volumes and a bit more wrestling. It was still an endurance-based route, but it was kind of a bit more funky than the women's line, and they've switched it tonight. So the women now have a few bigger holds, but overall, I would say the style remains Briançon style. It's crimpy, it's got a few bigger holds, but a lot of them have got screw-on jibs added to the top of them to dial down the difficulty slightly compared to just sort of smashing between big fiberglass volumes. There's a tricky little sequence just turning onto the first 45-degree section, and this head wall you can see it's just go, go, go all the way to the top. These big, wide, slopey benches with a couple of bad crimps and undercuts interspersed, and a bit of a jump to finish potentially.
Potentially, all right. Well, it finishes on the same huge ice cream cone volume that the men's route would have finished on had we seen anyone get there.
Yeah, the only reason I say potentially is that it's not nice to kind of say this is exactly how it's going to happen, because we had 5 minutes at most with the route setting team, and I want the athletes to produce the story for us, not the route setters tell us how it's done. And yeah, there's always plenty of methods up there. The climbers at this level never cease to surprise with some of the tricks and methods they come out with.
Yeah, we said it before, it's like herding cats trying to get climbers to do a move the way you want them to do it, and quite sensibly when you chat to the route setters in general, they will say, well, there's no point trying to make them do a move a certain way. You've got to set it, you think you've covered every base, and then you just let them loose on it, but you can't get too fixated on making climbers do something.
Yeah, in the route setting game, in the UK at least we call it forcing the move. You could spend hours trying to force the climbers to do it one way, and then they just match this hold that you never thought was possible to match and do it somewhere completely different. So it's you create the journey, you create the road, you create the path, create the route that you want people to go in, but you have to always consider the other options.
Still, Natsuki Tani and Cheon-seo, who are the two highest ranked climbers going into the final, working closely together. That is the scene here in Briançon. Darkness beginning to fall in the valley. The wall illuminated against the mountains. Really is a stunning location.
Interesting now, Ashima for the first time has just dropped in with one of the other athletes. You can just see her on the bottom left of the screen there.
Yeah, she's chatting to Yutong Jiang. Again, not sure what the shared language would be. Very interesting. Climbers going up and having a feel of some of the early holds. They can't pull onto the wall, but they can stand and feel anything that they can reach from the ground. Yeah,
the Slovenian team is still shoulder to shoulder. Nobody going to be breaking that team up, I don't think. Nobody going to be dropping in for any info on that little lineup.
Of course, we're off to Slovenia for it's actually the next Lead World Cup is in Kranj at the end of September. So it's a long way off, but yeah, the next Lead World Cup will be in their home country. Very historic venue over in Kranj, about 20 minutes north of Ljubljana. First, the small matter of a win in Briançon, one of the most classic IFSC venues of all.
Small matter of the World Championships as well.
Oh yeah, I knew there was something else.
Something in the diary.
Yeah, we'll be off to Japan in the second week of August. We've got a traditional World Championships, we've got Boulder Speed and Lead World Championship, and then a combined one as well, a 4-day combined one to finish off the World Championship, and Olympic selection up for grabs. So that is time up for observation, 6 minutes. And talk about herding cats, trying to get the climbers off the stage after the observation can be challenging. This time they all go fairly willingly without anyone needing to get beaten on the way off. They just get led off the stage. One of the very well behaved.
It's going to be a really interesting one this tonight, Charlie. Storylines really is Natsuki Tani and Cheon-seo overtaking Yanya really in terms of, obviously in terms of the results, but potentially in terms of ability going into the final. Yanya just looks a little bit off the pace. You can see yesterday when she fell off the top move that she was pretty annoyed, and so she is really out to prove herself tonight, Yanya. And as always, she's be a hard one to bet against, but Che Yun-soo in particular is looking really, really on form at the moment. Natsuki Tani had a lot of hope going into the Chamonix finals just last week, but seemed to just lose their beta a little bit at the bottom of the wall. Didn't seem to quite have the power through this kind of awkward foot section there last week. So it's going to be a really interesting one, this one. I think the route, I wouldn't say the route suits one climber over another. At the start of the competition, one of the route setters, Jan Zabranik, was just saying it's really difficult to set for this field in the women's competition now, because you've got someone like Yanya in there, of course, and Ashima, kind of very experienced, and they're potentially better at kind of the more modern coordination moves. They've got a lot more experience in that. But then you've got some of these really young athletes, 15, 16-year-olds coming through, who are really good and really fit. They can hold on to the wall for a very long time on the right holds, but might not potentially be very good on these sort of big jumpy moves. And yeah, we've not seen them challenged in that way yet. So maybe there's something here tonight on this route, but it looks like, unless there's a bit of a surprise low down, it's going to go down to kind of pure endurance, this one again.
Very interesting as well to see backstage Natsuki Tani, Cheon-soo, Ashima Shirashi and Yutong Jiang all comparing notes. Of course, Ashima born to Japanese parents but grew up in the United States, so she is bilingual. She has a shared language at least with Natsuki. And there we have it. The men's route was on the right. The women will be on the left. I'm very pleased to say that Jan Zabranik, fresh from talking to the crowd, is here to talk to us again. Jan, we've just seen the women's observation. What can we expect from the route?
Well, we expect to challenge the female with a very endurance route, climbing, they climb to the middle, they can rest a little bit, but from there on they go all the way to the top, fighting with the pinches, and we can hopefully see some good level climbing, and hopefully one maximum top.
Always hoping for one top maximum. The top section, it looks like it just keeps coming. Is it just a pure test of endurance?
Yeah, it's also hard to clip, it's hard to move. You make a mistake and the mistakes are adding up and you are getting more and more tired, and the holds for the female are not very friendly. There are some small holds, but also big pinches, which are good for us, for men, but for female it's test of the power.
And when you set these routes 3 weeks ago, many people hadn't even heard of Cheon-soo, and she's the new sensation. What changes did you make to the route today?
Well, we were trying to look back through the competition, through the qualifications, through the semi-final, compared to this final route, to the routes what we actually climbed and experienced. So we knew that the top 3 female climbers are very, very strong and very close to each other. So our goal was to make the section on the top very consistent, and we extended the amount of the hard movements. We didn't make them harder, but we extended the amount.
Okay, you added a few more moves.
Few more moves before, before the section was let's say 8 super hard moves at the top. Now it's 12 or 13.
Okay, sounds like they got a challenge on their hands. Jan, once again, really appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And I was going to say enjoy the final. You probably don't enjoy it, but try to enjoy it.
I try to enjoy as much as I can.
Thanks a lot for your time, man. Always good to get Jan's perspective.
Yeah.
Interesting there. He said they'd added, there was 8 hard moves and now there's 12 at the top, just to trying to separate the climbers.
Yeah, I guess this style is playing into the hands of these endurance climbers, like we said, and Natsuki Tani and Cheon-soo really head-to-head at the moment on this one. Yanya, you can't count her out, obviously she joins the pack. And a few of the others in the field there. I do think this one's going to be a super interesting one, and where we get a bolter from the start, like we saw in the men's competition, or it's going to kind of go down to the traditional last climber, best climber. Let's see.
Well, yeah, I mean, Hidemasa Nishida came out first in the men's final, got really high on the route, and I thought, you can't help but think, I might see a few tops here. He ends up winning the competition. So predictions are always hard to make, but this season it seems they're utterly impossible. Vita Lucan, we can see there backstage, very aggressive. Last part of her warm-up, getting ready, just getting pumped up to get on the wall. Comes out to the Briançon crowd and doesn't even acknowledges them. Game face on, ready to roll. As I say, she is the Youth World Champion from Moscow 2018 in this very discipline. And there's a real battle, of course, within the Slovenian team, given that only 2 climbers per gender from each country can go to the Olympics. You'd imagine Janja's got a pretty good shot at one of the Slovenian slots, but who will join her?
Yeah, it's a good point, and results like this tonight could really feed into that as well. Slovenians working together, but also battling for spaces. Whether they see it like that, I don't know. We'd have to ask them.
So here goes Vita Lucan.
Really nice little volume section to start. Nice hexagon of kind of pink and black volumes, all just slightly overlapping each other to offer a few little crimson footholds. Into another section of overlapping volumes. So you're just struggling with actually the first 2 quick draws. That nice little flip with the right hand into the underside of that volume, up to another volume before going into these yellow volumes with the small red additions on the nose. Vita showing so much power through there. It's a confident clip actually. It was a right hand, right foot clip, and then just floating out to this left hand before campusing the foot up. There is a small additional jib on top of that big fiberglass volume. She's really wrapped it under the fingers at the moment, sort of skin wrapping it.
See this route really kicking in from the start. Awkward position from Vita. Has to go now.
Next hold is a big sinker pocket. Up and left, quite far to go though.
Crowd cheering. They've had a bit of a wait since the men's final. You can see already Vita really got her work cut out. Got in a really awkward position with her hands right in front of her chest, facing up.
Yeah, it looked like she couldn't quite decide where to put the feet, whether she'd get them high and heel or hook on those 2 big blobs she's standing on now. Ended up sort of flipping the right hand to an undercut. Had to fight quite hard through that section. Gets a nice double clip there though.
Yeah, a bit like the men's route. You got that long extended draw and then another one just a metre or so to the side of it. Really has to go for it, Vita Lucan. This route is really testing her really early on.
And that's what we're saying, the women's route now starts to go into a section of bigger holds. Again, it's big holds, but it's got small little edges on them. And it'd be interesting to see the sequence used for this next right to left section. It was left to right in the men's, women's goes right to left. She's got a big sort of planet hold for her, big Saturn for her right foot. And heading up to another big Saturn for her left. Out far on the left hand side. Again, just switches the hands.
Another big committed move out left for Vita Lucan. She's climbing really strongly here, but this route is offering a lot of challenges.
High risk moment there. Went for the big smash out left and then left the feet behind because it's such a wide move, and quickly tapped the right hand in on the screw-on before campusing in and matching. And now will probably take a decent rest. She's on an absolutely massive ledge. It's high risk to get there. We've seen her feet cut a couple of times up to this point.
Yeah, she is taking a long rest. She's actually, by the way, only at hole 20 of a total of 42, and with 12 moves that we described as very hard on the head wall alone. She needs to get motoring. 2.5 minutes remaining. It's a really good first effort from Vita Lucan.
She's just fading on the right arm there.
Yeah, now she's got a big committed move up on that same right arm. Somehow hangs onto it in a really powerful position. Hands level with her ears, pushing outwards.
Yeah, she's trying to open the elevator doors between those 2 holes.
So now, again, manages to at least get a quick chalk up, even if we couldn't quite call it a rest. That foothold's just a bit further away than you want it to be for the right foot. She actually, I think, is opting not to use it. now she'll reach round and use it for the next move. The elbows are out. She's looking tired, Vita Lucan, but she's been battling from the very start, and she's still going as she heads towards the final panel of the Briançon wall. This is where the endurance really comes in. There's tough move after tough move. Crowd really getting behind her. They know they're watching a real scrap here. Goes up with the right hand. Now she's onto the head wall. Has to avoid standing on the bolt. Gets the right foot up. Oh, dabs up with the left hand, and finally we lose her. That is a brilliant first effort from Vita Lucan. Strong fight. And Mike, first impressions, we've got a real root on our hands here.
Yeah, that was ace. Got through the bottom section quite slowly, but used up a lot of power. Took that big rest out on the left. Mostly sort of, she had a heel up there, resting both hands quite well, but then it got really powerful through that section of shoulders. Cool at the elevator doors, opposing shoulder holds, and then into just these kind of minuscule crimps. They actually seemed to really suit her style. She looked desperately pumped in the right arm, and just seemed to wrap these crimps one after the other. Just a little jump lower down.
There's a lot of dramatic moments in that.
It was a superb battle.
Yeah, brilliant. Ace was the word you used. Not heard anyone say that for about 2 decades. It was absolutely spot on. So out next, we've got the only French climber in either the men's or the women's competitions. It is Nina Artaud.
This is what we were saying, Charlie, just at the start of the broadcast really, about these routes. They're just classic endurance test pieces where you can get really, really pumped and then just keep just going. One little more move, one more move, maybe scrape one more move after you think you've already gone. You get completely flamed, and somehow the moves aren't too big, so you can just keep crimping your way up. That was what exactly we see Vita Lucan there, still breathing so hard. Yeah, good opening performance, and setting what could be a really nice high point actually.
And no surprise that Nina Artaud getting a very big reception from the Briançon crowd. I'm just looking out, I think the people still arriving. The crowd seems to have increased even further since the last time I looked over my shoulder. Now she's ready to roll. You can see there, when you're on the stage, although our camera's doing a pretty good job of it, when you're on the stage with those lights in your face, you basically can't see the crowd, which may or may not be a good thing, because you'll get an awful shock when you get 5 moves up the route, look over and the lights aren't quite as in your face, and suddenly you see how many people are watching. But yeah, on the stage itself, you can barely see anything of the crowd.
You get that kind of nice stage presence where you're isolated from what's going on behind you, I think. And a lot of these climbers, they'll be very good at switching it off. You know, if you ask them what track was playing, what did you hear from the crowd, they wouldn't be able to tell you. They're just completely in performance mode.
Crowd cheering pretty much every move from Nina Artaud. She's just got underway. Climbing in her first final here in her home country. And got a pretty committing move in about 30 seconds time. That big jump up that we saw a replay of Vita Lucan on. Chooses to clip off the right hand. Vita clips off the left, and neither look particularly comfortable, to be honest, but left looks slightly better.
This is where Vita Lucan just struggled a little bit with her feet. Nina Artaud looking super casual to get to that big pocket and the clipping position. Again, Vita clipped twice. Looks like she's going to repeat that.
Yeah, so this is the move. Vita Lucan really cut loose. Nina Artaud looked a little more controlled. Less spectacular from a spectator's point of view, but much more controlled from on board, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would say it's a little bit early to say, but I'd say her left arm is actually starting to fade very slightly there, a little bit. I do hope I'm wrong, because this is a particularly challenging move going out left here.
Here she goes, Nina Artaud. And again, cuts loose, and climbing much quicker than Vita Lucan. Arrives there with over 4 minutes left.
Yeah, opts for the right heel. She's just swapping the heels out to rest different hands.
Well, so much for trying to ignore the crowd. She wants more from them. They're watching one of their own, and she wants them to acknowledge it.
She has done exactly what he said, just turn around. Looked how far the crowd goes back, all the way through the field here. So She had to put in a bit of a battle there to get to this rest, but now that she's in the rest, we've seen it, she'll milk it for all it's worth. 7 quick draws already clipped. A good opportunity to rest. Trek is going to be leaving it there with 3 minutes 25. She does leave now.
Yeah, crowd very, very vocal behind us as Nina Artaud into this hard move and just misses with the right hand.
Yeah, just missed the right hand, came a little bit short. She was searching for something with her right foot a little bit there as well. There was a right foot available to her there. She took that big rest. She looked a little bit tired getting into it, but I think she would have been relatively fresh leaving the rest. And maybe just the moment got to her a little bit there. I think she's going to be disappointed with that. Yeah,
very much so. Went to get the elevator doors, and again, choreography. I need to investigate this, Mike. Do the climbers get told beforehand where to go after the final and just forget, or do they just not get told? But it seems that everybody finishes their attempt and goes the wrong way.
Well, there's 2 doors. You go out of one and go in the other. But I think at that stage, when you're so boxed like that, the last thing you want to do is try and figure out which door to go through. I'm sure it doesn't really matter, but the idea is that you don't go past the other athletes, obviously. This was just before she got into the rest position. She had a little bit of a scrap just to get to there. This is where she so just watch the right foot there. She just tapped it into the side of the volume rather than there's a little foot there. She just seemed to just twist and slip, or there's something that's a little bit hard to tell exactly what went wrong there. So just body was just moving a little bit as she went up to the right hand, and she actually came up quite short on it.
Yeah, almost seemed a little too relaxed as she went up there. We saw Vita go with kind of full commitment, smacked into the move.
Yeah, I think that's what it is actually. She looked like she was coming up short, and I think she just tried to not use the right foot, and we said with Vita, she just jumped into the double shoulders, took the big cut.
So Ashima now out on the stage. An absolute climbing sensation for quite a long time now, actually, 7-8 years, and made the first 7 finals in her World Cup lead career, but still no win. 2nd place last year in China is as good as it's got so far. What can she do here in Briançon? It's quite quiet all of a sudden. Now the music starts up again. Quite eerie music for Ashima to climb to.
Wish one day they'd do a survey of the athletes. Do you like the music or do you not?
Yeah. Maybe we could go down the boxing road. Yeah. Got your intro music.
Yeah, everybody comes out to Eye of the Tiger.
You should shotgun according to world ranking, I guess. Yanya can shotgun Eye of the Tiger and everyone has to scrap over the rest. Nice steady start from Ashima. First real challenge, it would seem, is getting the clip from these 2 round volumes above, although she's got a bit of a challenge on her hands now.
Yeah, she just tried to get the right foot up whilst really wide on the hands on that volume, and just obviously realised she was too wide. Just bumped the right hand in, just camped it in.
Now that looks a reasonable position to clip from, actually.
Yeah, straight arm, just across the body. Textbook clipping.
Climbing pretty slowly here, Ashima. That's 1.5 minutes gone, and she's about to hit the steep section. She's going to set off onto it, I think, with close to 4 minutes remaining.
Yeah, the way she's shaking out her right arm, I'm not sure if that's just nerves or she actually is feeling it pretty quickly here. She's obviously looking up into that head wall and knows that there's some serious stuff above. Obviously we know that there's a good rest, 5 or 6 moves time. I'm sure she's seen it as well in the observation, but she doesn't quite know how difficult it is to actually get there.
I was about to say, be well advised to get that clip done early on. Turns and has a quick look at the clock. No asking the crowd for more from Ashima.
Yeah, Yeah, not got the double clip just yet. I'm sure she just might be a little bit too short, but the music does definitely drop a beat.
Yeah, she thought about it, then put the rope in her mouth as if to go for it, and I think decided against it. So here she goes, bit of a jump. She's having to create a bit of momentum, kind of sway. Doesn't seem to like the look of this move, Ashima.
Yeah, she has to say she's looking pretty nervous up there at the moment.
Here she goes, she's got to go for it at some stage. Now she goes, feet peel out behind her, but she holds on to it. Not looking particularly comfortable on the route so far, climbing pretty slowly and looking pretty unsure about a couple of the moves. She needs to try and find a rhythm through this middle section if she can.
Yeah, ends up clipping in the middle of this kind of crimpy traverse section, but looking pretty comfortable. She's got that bomber right heel. Drops it to her toe now. Let's see what method she uses through here. First climber we've seen going feet first. Less powerful in the arms, a little bit slower to get there. Showing great technique from Ashima.
Yeah, kind of pulled herself towards the hold using her left leg. 2:30 left on the clock. I'm keeping an eye on the time. She's definitely climbing a pretty slow speed, but if she can regain a bit of composure on this rest,
I want to see
she may be able to rocket up the rest.
I want to see someone take both hands off, go for the showboat bat hang rest. Don't think we're going to see that tonight, unfortunately. She gets the crowd going as well.
She asked for the crowd. That is a hold where it's just begging out for you to bring the crowd in. Again, Ashima rests. She's down to 1 minute 45. My guess is, in observation, she just thought, right, the top is going to be really hard. I don't want to stop. I guess, but I mean, halfway up the route with 90 seconds remaining, she definitely needs to get motoring, and now she's underway. She's had a long rest.
This is the move we lost Nina on there. She has the same right foot placement, just against the side of the volley, but Ashima uses a really powerful left heel just to get the height to get into the right-hand side of those two shoulder holds.
Gets a foot swap done. She's got under a minute remaining now, Ashima. I don't think she's got her pace quite right here. We shall see. Vita Lucan still leading the way. Gets the clip done. Ashima beginning to pull on the head wall. 32 plus was the score of Vita Lucan. The triangular volume above the one she's on is where hold 32 lives. It's that little red hold, that one there. So it'll be a new high point if she can latch the next hold. She can. 20 seconds remaining now for Ashima. Needs to just get as many moves done as she can. 15 seconds to go. I don't think she'll make it to the next clip. She's choosing to chalk up. Had a quick look at the time, perhaps a bit too late, and realizes that she needs to go. 5 seconds now for Ashima. Move after move falling, but she's just left it too late. And that is time up for Ashima, and I think she was timed out on hole 36. And she doesn't look especially tired, Mike. I think she'll be a little annoyed with that one.
This is a tricky one, Charlie. I mean,
she burned a lot of time low down.
6 minutes that's the rules. The route is set to suit 6 minutes worth of climbing. Like you say, she was just very slow at the bottom of the wall.
And then took a very long rest when I felt she was already pushed for time. She stopped for a long, long time.
She was chalking up with 10 seconds to go, and like you said, she didn't even look that tired. I think if time wasn't a factor, then she could have gone further, but you can't have unlimited amount of time on these routes. That's part of the rules, part of the game. It used to be 8 minutes, now it's 6. The routes are set to suit 6 minutes.
It was hole 36 where she timed out. But yeah, it's a difficult one for her, as I say, slow through the middle section, long rest when she was already pretty pushed for time, and then as you say, she was chalky up with 10 seconds to go, looked down at the clock, realised she was pushed for time and started rattling through what were pretty hard moves. It looked like she could have done a few more, but it was too little too late, sadly. This was the move she really didn't seem to like the look of.
Yeah, like even up to this point she was very slow. I mean, Nashima's going to have to adapt her game slightly here to adjust to this time limit. We've not seen really any time issues for the whole lead season up to this point.
No, and it just felt like Ashima could have gone a bit quicker at times, and I think that's a bit of a frustrating one. Okay, we're ready for our fourth climber out of 8 in this women's final. Yutong Zhang, second in Chamonix in her first ever Lead World Cup final. We'll be off to her home country later on this year, World Cup in Xiamen. And her 6 minutes begins. She will, I guess, regardless of how much of the MC she understands, she must be very aware that Ashima was on the wall a long time and there wasn't a huge cheer at the end of it, which, if you put 2 and 2 together, probably means she was timed out, whether you've seen it or not.
Yeah, at this level of the competition, that's just a mistake, unfortunately, from Ashima. She has to adapt to the rules and the conditions of the route on the day. She obviously had the endurance, but you could say the other climbers could have had the endurance if they used that much time to rest as well.
So Zhang is underway now. So the key seems to be get through the lower section efficiently, don't burn too much time, get the jump done without worrying about it too much. It's not going to get any closer the more you stare at it, and then get yourself across to the rest. Would appear to be how it goes, although figuring out how it's going in the women's lead season this year is a very tricky process.
That's quite nice. She managed to get that right here, like we saw Ashima just trying to recalculate what to do there to get the right foot up. Zhang just did it from the really wide hand position.
Again, bit of a decision to be made here about how to clip. Looks like she might go for the Vita Luke and clip it off the left hand, perhaps.
Yeah, it's quite an awkward position actually on the left hand, right foot. Just goes for the heel over the hand on that little screw-on jib. Just shuffles the fingers out of the way and pushes on to the next move before clipping.
Ended up in a good position after a bit of thinking.
Needs to adjust that left heel to get it on the nose of that volume. It doesn't in the end, just uses the right foot to push through. Now she adjusts the left foot and gets the double clip.
Yeah, just gets the double clip. Ashima definitely thought about that one but didn't go for it. Zhang now needs to commit to this jump up.
Yeah, I was wondering if Ashima was going to do that, just swapping the feet and jumping off the big left-hand dish, but it looks like Zhang's going to try something even different to that. It goes quite statically, bringing the hands together and getting a right toe up on that lower crimp.
I'm not quite sure what she pulled off with the right hand. Was she just squeezing the bottom of the volume?
Yeah, she just sort of stack matched the pocket, just put one hand in, chuck the other hand on top. That's not going to go anywhere. And plant your foot, pull to the jug.
Well, I never. So she's a move away now from a decent rest.
Looks like she's going to look for that feet first option.
That's clever climbing. Oh, that nearly wasn't clever climbing.
Good save.
Oh, a really good save. Talk about heart in the mouth. But she nearly spat it out.
Yeah, it's quite interesting there. Unlike Ashima, she took one look at the clock and hasn't bothered to rest anymore. She's realised time is an issue straight away. Maybe she's read into what happened with Ashima there. A little bit of rain just coming down here all of a sudden as well.
Yeah, a few spots of rain coming down. Shouldn't affect the competition wall at all. It's well covered in it as it stands. It's a very, very light spitting rain, but Hopefully it doesn't develop into anything else.
Yutong's just got that little right foot clamp as well. She seems to use this method of really getting the feet as high as possible on every single move.
Yeah, really leads with the feet. So now she'll get the right foot out wide. That foothold's just useless for the move before, and then it's just where you want it for the next one. So 2 more clips and she'll find herself at the top, but there's an awful lot of hard climbing still to go. Pulling onto the head wall now. Ashima, remember, has got the high point. 36 for her was when she timed out. That's still quite a few moves away above Zhang.
Yeah, Ashima had 10 seconds left at this point. Zhang's got 1 minute 34, but she is looking really tired. Didn't use that lower rest. She's going to have a real fight on her hands here.
And went up for it. That was a hole 32 she went up for, so it'll be a 31 plus of that, I'm pretty sure.
That was really interesting, Charlie. When she got to the rest, she almost fell off. She had the one-hander catch on the rest. She took one look over her shoulder, looked at the time, and instantly quested off. You think maybe she could have taken 10 seconds, 20 seconds would have been enough potentially just to relax and get a little bit back. In the end, she ended up rushing out of the rest and kind of was the opposite of Ashima. Maybe she was learning something from the crowd's response to Ashima.
So 4 climbers out. We've got a very, very entertaining women's final route. So it'll be, I think that was a 31 plus, 33 plus. Yeah, 33 plus. Anyway, she moves into second place, so she's not going to improve on her Chamonix result. Of that we can be sure. She was second there a week ago. Mia Krampel will be out next, the second of 3 Slovenians. Let's have another look at Zhang.
Yeah, this is just going into the rest. This is just watch I think it was the foot that came off. She over-rotated on the right foot. As she went to bring her right heel in, it almost went above her head and just rotated the body basically at this point. From that rest, she didn't rest basically. She just quested off, and at which point she got really pumped in the head wall. With a fair amount of time left, I think it was around 1 minute 30 she had left, with a good 10 or so moves still to go. So she had time up there. Yeah, she had 9 moves left with 1 minute 34. So you think, just reflecting on her timing when she watched the video back, maybe slightly over panicked looking at the time.
There's the scores as they stand. Ashima Shirashi leading the way, 36 to Zhang's 33 plus, Vita Lucan's 32 plus, and Nina Artaud's 24 plus. 4 climbers gone, 4 still to come. 2 of them Slovenian, 1 of them Japanese, and 1 of them Korean. Getting the big intro again, Mia Krampel. There's a brief pause now before the 5th climber comes out. As I say, Mia Krampel, who we're about to see next, never been on a lead World Cup podium. Mike, expert route setter like yourself.
Steady on.
It's a big word, the E word. If you were a coach and you'd watch this and one of your athletes was going to climb on this route next, what would your advice be?
I think it's about going as smoothly as possible to the rest. The route setters have put in an obvious rest there. They've put it in as a cool move to get to it, but they've put in a rest which gives you a really good indication that the stuff above the rest is going to be really hard. Get to the rest as fast as you can, rest there for as long as possible, calculate your time as much as possible, and then sprint to the top. Easier said than done. There's so many factors for the climbers to figure out. They've got to effectively on-site the route, they've got to use the time, they've got to play the crowd, they've got the MC, they've got the music. There's so much going on here for the athletes. If you were to look at the perfect descent, we sprint to the rest as much as you can, bomb it to the top, whilst putting on a mega show.
Whilst getting the crowd pumped up, yeah.
Maybe doing a few Hollywood spins whilst you're up there, and a bit. Maybe drop your chalk bag halfway up. Dyno to the top hold, catch it, drop it, latch it again. You know, all of that sort of stuff.
I get the gist. Ashima Shirashi, by the way, comparing notes with Yutong Zhang. They've been deep in conversation since he began sitting together a couple of minutes ago. Really going through the moves. You can see them miming it. Really interesting to see.
Yeah, in all seriousness, the route does suit these climbers really well. So I think this is adding to the pressure. There's these delays that they keep putting in as well, just to kind of really build up the hype. And yeah, it's a big opportunity here as well. And I think everyone gets a slight sniff that Janja might not be on 100% form. So they know they're not fighting for second or third. There's a potential World Cup win on the line here.
Here comes Mia Krampel. Podium for her earlier in the year in Munich, but never been on a lead one. Got a good shot today. Seems to be fully recovered from that knee injury she picked up in Munich. I don't think used her full 40-second individual observation allowance, just wants to get on with it.
Yeah, she barely lifted her head there actually.
But to be honest, they were deep in conversation throughout the 6-minute observation, the three Slovenians. I suspect that conversation's carried on backstage.
Ooh, just an early slip there actually. Right foot just went on one of these little overlapping volumes, recovered it quite nicely. She actually just landed back on the lower volume. Got away with that one. Nobody wants to fall off before the first quick draw.
No, she really did. We'd have been denied an interesting part of our show as well, so luckily she's carried on. Doesn't seem to have thrown her confidence too much, just one of those things. Get on with motoring up. Now how will she deal with this? Chooses to get the foot high and looks pretty solid on it.
She's slightly taller than Ashima and Vita.
She's going to clip, I think, from the crimp rather than from one of the round volumes. I think that's probably the way to do it, actually.
Yeah, that's what we saw Yutong Zhang doing as well.
Presumably as well, being a bit taller, she'll get the double clip. Remember, she's got to clip the quick draws in sequence. So you can't just think, well, I can reach that one, so I'll skip the other one. You've got to clip them all. Mia Krampel setting a pretty good pace here. If you think about how long it's taken some of the climbers to get here, she's still got 4 minutes of her time remaining, and she's getting pretty close to the rest.
Yeah, she's gone for a completely different sequence, so it would be interesting to see if the other Janja comes out with the same sequence as well, crossing through on those lower crimps. There's 1, 2, 3 crimps on offer there. Looks like you can use all of them in pretty much any sequence.
It looks a slightly high-risk way of doing it. If that left foot popped, you'd be in a pretty tricky situation. Again, at the rest and deciding to milk it, and sets off with 3:40 left, so I'd be very, very surprised if time came into it for Mia Krampel. So the first of these powerful moves up, and it's the left shoulder that takes the load first. It'll be the right as well in just a second.
Yeah, left Gaston into the right Gaston. Feet cut as we saw with Vita Lucan. Seems to control it with no issue though.
Slovenians really have read the route together. She's choosing to take another little rest. Again, glances down at the time. She's climbed actually very quickly, and has almost half her time remaining as the head wall approaches. Now she's onto the crimps of the head wall. Remember, it was a 36 that leads the way for Ashima. Still some way to go from that, but could we be about to see a high point? Mia Krampel's climbed quickly. Looks like she's got something left, although she's clearly tired.
Yeah, she's not too happy with this left pinch at the moment. Does get the clip off the right. Just tries to search for that little left screw-on. Punches into that side pull.
I think we could be about to see a new high point here. That's hole 36. If she can move off it, we have got our new high point. Ashima watching on as Mia Krampel cannot move off it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see that back. I think she just faded out on the top of the wall there. She was looking really solid up until that quick draw that she got. She was searching for some option, potentially a drop knee with her left foot. It was too high to use, and at which point it looked like she completely faded out on the terrible strong side pulls that are up there.
Yeah, Mike, I think she'll get a 36 and she'll move ahead of Ashima on countback, I believe. Always cede to the judges, but that's how it looked to me. That's hole 36 she's got her right hand on.
Yeah, you can see the right arm was really tired, the elbow was really up. She just went to bring the left foot up, and the screw-on is actually really closely blocked by the wall, so the screw-on's right at the back of the volume. So when she went to put her left foot up there, it didn't quite go on correctly, and at which point the right arm had nothing left to save the day.
Mia Krampel. We are still waiting for her score to come through. I'm pretty sure it is going to be a 36 and that'll move her into first place. But for how long? Here comes Janja Garnbret. 2 weeks ago, I very much doubt she expected to be in this position of not being the favourite for a lead World Cup and playing catch-up, but that's how the season's panned out. She has got real competition this season from the most unexpected of sources. I think a lot of people were expecting her to just cruise to a 4th consecutive lead World Cup season victory. It has not proved to be going that way so far. Real pressure for Janja. She climbs 3rd to last, also an unfamiliar position for her. But this is Janja Garnbret we're talking about. She can do something special here.
This is a massive moment in the 2019 lead season.
Mia Krampel has moved into first place, by the way. She did score a 36, and it's countback that moves her ahead of Ashima. It is a huge moment in the season. No one quite sure what to make of it. Doesn't do that move perhaps the most efficient way possible, almost pretty much chose to let the feet cut off. But she's on with it now, and I think she'll go up, get the crimp, then clip. That is what she's doing. And employs a heel hook just to lessen the load a little bit more. So again, she's tall enough to get the double clip, and then she's got the jump. No problem, just had to be careful there. Her left arm, I think, was just slightly caught behind the rope. One of those possible problems you can encounter when leading and you've got a rope and quick draws to deal with. She did well to free it.
Yeah, just had a little left foot slip on the top of that pocket as well, but seems to have recovered it. She's kind of looking really bouncy on the route at the moment. This is the same sequence that we saw Mia Krampel using just before her. Statically through there, doesn't cut the feet at that stage.
So again, plenty of time remaining, Janja. 4 minutes and 2 seconds now. So pretty much 4 minutes on the nose for Janja, and she's got herself over to the rest. So that gives her, you would have thought, time for I guess a 20-30 second pause here, and then the option, I guess, of perhaps a little shakeout and a chalk up a bit later on the elevator doors. Already underway, Janja was there for about 25-30 seconds, and now she's on with the rest of her attempt. Goes for the high foot, and he's safely into the left-hand hold.
Yeah, slightly different sequence, just to put the left heel up into the second Gaston.
Janja looking okay, definitely a little bit pumped, but reasonably composed at this stage. Clip safely done. She'll go up with the left hand, then cross through, you'd imagine, with the right. Taking every opportunity to have a little shake and a chalk up here, Janja, and the crowd suddenly come to life. Janja Garnbret 4 moves away from matching the high point of Mia Krampel and Ashima. Slight fumble with the clip, but she's on her way again now. That's hole 33. 34. Now up to 35. If she can latch hole 36, she'll take the lead on countback. That's hole 36 right there. So that's her in the lead at this stage. But she doesn't want a high point. She wants a top. A high point is not enough for Janja Garnbret. She is feeling competitive. She's being challenged. And she's got the opportunity to make a big statement here. The dance music kicks in. The crowd really beginning to shout. Janja's got hard move after hard move here. And every move she does is pushing the high point further and further away. She gets the right foot up, gets that right hand. It's a big jump for the top, and she latches it. Janja Garnbret finds the first top of the final. She's so pumped, she can barely clip the rope. Still hasn't clipped the rope. It's not a top unless she clips that top quick draw. So she's got the top hold, but it is not a top, as I say, until that quick draw is clipped. High drama here in Briançon. Janja Garnbret launched for the top, couldn't get a hand free to clip the quick draw. Now she's done it. Big fist pump. She's done all she can do in the final. She's topped the route. She got the high point, had a good look at the clock, knew she had plenty of time, and I have to say, cruised the last few moves, and then that big jump to the top, and just couldn't get a hand off long enough to clip.
I have to say, Janja Garnbret has had some epic fights on her hands in the last previous years. Talking World Championship battles, coming out last to try and win the World Championships. In many ways, that was harder work for Janja. She may be slightly off her physical best, and she had to put in a proper fight to get to the top of the wall there. You can see on that very last jug, the way that she did the dyno, she absolutely zero hesitation. She wasn't going to have a repeat of what happened last night. Let's have another look on this final move. As soon as she got into that position, just pounced 1-2 with absolute 100% commitment on that final move. There was no way that she was going to drop that. And then when she got to the top, a quite hilarious moment really, where she was so pumped. She had both her heels on. It is an absolute ledge up there. she could not get the body position right to take her hand off to clip the final draw. Everyone was on their feet going ballistic, and the DJ even had a special Janja tune on, and he had to quickly turn it off to make sure he got the timing right for when she lowered down. A really, really good moment, and great to see Janja topping a final route once again, but she had to fight really hard.
Yeah, interestingly enough, considering that we're told those top moves were really hard, she actually seemed okay on the last 3 or 4 moves, just threw them quickly. Might just have been trying to get them done through the pump, but they didn't look as hard as we might have expected, given the fact that she was clearly pretty pumped.
Yeah, it was just as she turned the lip on the headboard, she started to, she just fumbled the quick draw a little bit, just as she made the angle change. The rope was a little bit tangled in her legs, and it just sort of sapped her arms a little bit. And like you say, she just seemed to drop a gear in the head wall, just to kind of cruise through a couple of moves, and then that top move, I think that's going to be the separator realistically.
Okay, so Natsuki Tani gets underway. A bit like Janja yesterday, Mike alluded to it. She got a hand on the top hole, but couldn't stick it. Janja, in a not dissimilar move yesterday, launched for the top, got a hand, couldn't stay there. Natsuki Tani the same. However, she did out-qualify Janja, so if she was the top, she would move ahead on count back to that qualifying performance.
So Janja Garnbret, actually the oldest competitor in this field at just 20 years old, and she's got just the most insane amount of experience in comparison to Natsuki Tani. Natsuki Tani qualified higher than her in the semi-final round, but can she deal with the fact that Janja's just topped it? She knows that if she wants to go ahead, a top is the only option.
Yeah, it's scarcely believable as it is. Janja is the only person competing in this women's final that wasn't born in this millennium. She is the veteran at 20 years old. Slight fumble from Natsuki Tani, just had to fiddle with that quick draw there. Again, getting the clip. She is a bit shorter than some of the other climbers. I think she's just doing the maths in her head about whether she can reach the other one. Can just. So here comes the jump. She's Got to get lined up for it. Oh, the feet cut loose at a pretty key moment.
Yeah, she's gone for the hand match. She was just floating around on one arm there for a second. She actually had a similar sort of issue in Chamonix just last week. Really low down on the route, just lost her feet. Couldn't quite decide what to do. She's a climber who, if there's a static way of doing it, she'll find it. Tries the right foot again, doesn't end up with a hand stack, just swings into it. That was better in the end.
Now she's moving out across those crimps. I wonder how much energy was burned from that kind of semi-lock off on the left arm. She's across to the rest. Less time than Janja had, under 3.5 minutes. Chooses basically not to take any rest at all. Powers straight on through.
Yeah, didn't shake the right arm at all really there, just went straight into the cross through into that next screw on undercut.
You'd imagine it is an indication that she's not especially tired.
Big deep lock there. Had to try really hard to get that first Gaston on the left hand side. He's matched it. It's the first time we've seen actually over there matching. It's the way that she floats around on these holds makes them all look like absolute whopping jugs, to be honest.
Yeah, so Natsuki, the feet have cut loose a couple of times, but it doesn't seem to have slowed her down too much. So Natsuki Tani now heading out onto the head wall. Perhaps beginning to get a little bit pumped now. Wonder if she might regret not taking a longer rest. Now she's beginning to shake, trying to figure out how to get this clip done.
Yeah, it's the same quick draw that Janja had a little bit of a scrap with. Different technique there from Natsuki.
Crowd getting into this now. Hold coming up is hold 36, so that would move her ahead. That's the one onto into second place as it stands, but she wants more than that.
Be very surprised if this route's not going to come down to this final jump.
Janja Garnbret is on stage looking up at this. She's done all she can do. What can Natsuki Tani produce from here? Route setter Jan Zabranek said it's 12 hard moves, one after the other. Going well so far. I think you're right, Mike. It could come down to the jump. Natsuki Tani's lining it up. Looks an awfully long way. Now she goes for it and comes up well short. It's enough for second place, so makes that jump from Janja look even more impressive because she didn't even get a hand to it.
Yeah, she was a fair way off that. I have to say that this route up to that stage, it really does suit her style, which is slow and steady, maximum amount of endurance. Kind of, you know, she's very, very small athlete, and she's just under those holes, everything just looks so big for her, just so relaxed on all of these small crimps. Even that section low down, just finding static ways to do pretty much every single move. And then when it came to the big pounce at the top, she didn't really have the power required to match Janja's top.
Let's have a look at it. Yeah, I think she knew she wasn't making that,
yeah,
but she get the plus.
It's more of a flap, a flap at the top hold rather than a valid attempt.
Yeah, it definitely suited her style, and it'll be enough for second place. It goes over very politely and bows to thank her belayer. Fist pumps all round. And yeah, she takes a seat next to Yutong Jiang. Let's have a look where we're at scores-wise. Yeah, that's a 41 plus, so that's basically the last hole before the top hole is 41 plus. Mia Krampel currently sitting in third place with 36. Ashima with 36. Yutong Jiang with 33 plus. Vita Lucan with 32 plus, and Nina Arto 24 plus. The route setters will be happy with that. Only two climbers got the same score. Good separation. Could we see another climber about to get the same score as Janja Garnbret here? Cheon-soo of South Korea has made her way onto the wall. Won last week in Chamonix, second the week before in Vilar.
Cheon's looked massively confident as soon as she stepped onto the stage in the last three competitions. This final route is going to come down to whether Cheon can potentially going to come down to whether Che Yun-seo can stick this top jump or not.
Yeah, I mean, it seems crazy to say it when you think what's to come before she gets there, but I have to agree. I think it could well come down to that jump.
Yeah, 41 moves to get to that point. 41 pretty hard moves as well, but she's looked on fine form and really is everything that she seems to be on the wall.
Can she latch that 40-second hold? It's crazy to think that Janja could have scored a 42 rather than the top if she'd binned it off the top and she couldn't clip the quick draw. I don't remember seeing anyone. I mean, I've seen people kind of struggle to get the clip or whatever, fumble it a bit, but she was just so tired.
Well, you could see when she actually hit that top hold, she instantly chucked both heels up there. And there
just to get the weight off.
There's an option for a left foot lower down, but instantly chuck the feet up there and just get something off the arms as fast as possible.
Here goes Cheon. Who would have thought we would be watching this with her leading the overall standings for the season after 2 events? But here she is, the prodigy from South Korea. So the jump coming up now. Is she actually going to take a bit of a pause before she goes for it? No. There she goes.
It's actually a nice little move there set by the route setters.
I was about to say the same thing. Yeah, it's making the climbers think and making them a tiny bit nervous, but they've all got it done. Now she's heading out across to the rest.
Yeah, slightly different cross-through method there, but same result.
It's tricky. You kind of wonder what it must be like for Janja to watch this. She's on stage. We can see her from here. She's done everything she can do, but that one move on one of the qualifying routes and one move in the semi-final could come back to cost her.
Couldn't be closer than how this one is set up. It's hard for us to know quite what Che Yun-seo is like on these bouldering moves. If it comes down to this top move, we've not seen her in the bouldering season at all, so it's a little bit unknown. Heart in your mouth stuff here to finish in Briançon.
Yeah, we don't need to look at our route map. There's only one result that can take the win away, and that is a top from her. Won't matter about time, as long as she gets it done within the 6 minutes, a top will win the competition for her. She's looking so smooth so far.
Yeah, absolutely impeccable technique. Every time her foot goes to a hold, it lands it perfectly. Route reading is perfect. Every motion so far has been perfect.
Reminiscent, I might add, of her compatriot Jane Kim in that style. Just immaculate. This is where it'll really begin to kick in though. Crowd making an awful lot of noise here for Che Yun-seo. They know they're watching a superstar. I was about to say a superstar of the future, but she's very much here and now. She's onto the head wall. It is just hard move after hard move. We've seen 2 climbers so far reach the top hold. One of them, Janja Garnbret, hung onto it. Natsuki Tani couldn't get close enough. Che Yun-seo, she's got loads of time remaining. 2 minutes 10 left on the clock. It's time to get pumped, but it looks like she's got enough energy. Just needs to keep on motoring. Goes out to that right pinch. Awkward little foot swap, but there's another little foothold waiting for the right foot out there that she's now stood on. The elbows are out. She's definitely getting pumped, but she is going to have an opportunity for this top hold. Here goes Che Yun-seo. This one for the win. She latches it, gets a heel hook on, needs to clip the rope as we had with Janja. Once she's done that, that will be 1 second place and 2 World Cup wins in our Tour of the Alps in July. Che Yun-seo, 2-time World Cup winner, 3-time podiumist, and she entered her first World Cup 14 days ago.
Charlie, if you said Che Yun-seo, is she the real deal? Does she have everything it takes to win multiple World Cups? The answer is firmly yes. She absolutely cruised the route, She set up the top move. She was clearly pumped that she had the power to do the jump at the top. After Shea, she even looked better in the Anya on that top move. An absolute masterclass from Che Yun-seo. That was absolutely impeccable and a very, very well-deserved win.
The crowd rise to salute Che Yun-seo. I'll be off to have a word with her very shortly. She's asked to salute the crowd. The MC said, don't disappear just yet. Give us a bow, give us a wave. Wow, what just happened in the last 2 weeks?
Where do these people come from? Amazing.
The script had been written. Yanya was going to walk away with the season and do the double of the boulder in the lead. Where on earth did Seo come from?
Wow, I mean,
she had some good youth results, but no, she wasn't dominating Youth World Championships. She wasn't someone that we'd seen coming up the ranks and we're keeping an eye on.
Yeah.
It feels like she's come out from nowhere.
She has the full package. Let's have another look. This is low down on the route. At this point, obviously, she was just in cruise control. Great moves from the route setters. Good show. 2 tops on the final route in the end. If it was the real Dream Hollywood script, they would have just got 1. But let's have another look at this jump at the top. Hit it nicely on the left-hand side. As soon as one hand hit, the other joined it. The story is going to continue in the Women's League competition. We wanted to see Yanya put under pressure, and she is under pressure from Che Yun-seo.
And where's the next World Cup? Slovenia. And as you said, Mike, the small matter of Hachioji and the World Championships in between.
Oh, can we go now?
I know. So there we go. I'm going to grab a word with Che Yun-seo in just a moment.
Briançon, chapeau, franchement, on est dans un public de connaisseurs. Korea, some team, good job.
Big storylines going into this competition with Che Yun-seo winning last week in Chamonix, just deciding whether she is the real deal out there in the media. You can see it there on your screen. Top from Che Yun-seo, top from Yanya Gambrit, Natsuki Tani, just 1 move off the top. Big moments here in the women's final. It really, really came down to that last move. We thought it would. As you can see, the rest of the route really suited the endurance climbers here tonight. Yanya Gambrit clearly still has what it takes, but she is under pressure from the young Korean Che Yun-seo. What a great final. 2 tops in the end. The crowd really loved the tops. Maybe the perfect script would have been just for the 1 top, but you can't get much closer than that. Such a massive slice of luck required in these competitions. But a great, great job from the route sets tonight, and a good competition all round. Superb job from the organisers. The crowd were great, and the atmosphere was electric all the way through that men's and women's final. And interesting scenes in the men's final, of course, as well, with Hidemasa Nishida taking that one away in a really interesting field, both the men's and the women's competition. But it's the pressure from the young 15 and 16-year-olds that's really piling on the likes of Yanya Gambrit, that's making the storylines here in the first 3 World Cups of the IFSC league season. Very shortly we will be bringing you another interview, once again, the 2nd week in a row from Che Yun. Sure, they'll be roughly just running around trying to find an interpreter and translator. Let's hear from the winner of the Briançon World Cup right now.
Chen, congratulations. 2 World... Chen, congratulations. 2 World Cup wins, and you were under real pressure tonight, but you did it.
Yes, I can't believe, because I didn't think that I can win this World Cup.
And what was the last move like, the jump at the top?
I was really scared because I'm not good at jump, but I jumped because I don't have a choice, so I jumped and hold was really good.
And for the World Championships now, you must be very excited.
Yes, I'm so glad to participate.
Okay, congratulations, another amazing performance.
Thank you.
That was the winner. Jaehyun Seo from Korea took it away from Yanya, the final climber out. Also topped the route, and I have to say, third World Cup of the season. We've had an excellent women's final at last. Two finals the last 2 weeks have all been based around the same move, and this one really came down to a battle to the top of the wall, and it was excellent to see the climbers really tested right to the very limit of their endurance. And we will be shortly wrapping this up, but it will be the presentation of the athletes first. And Charlie, Jaehyun, in English, I have to say, very good effort.
Very good, yeah.
Still catching her breath, and an excellent women's final. We've had two kind of rough ones to start the season, and that one was a pure endurance test right to the very last move.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Apologies for the choreography issues on the interview, by the way. I was told to start, then told to stop, and then told to start again. She dealt with it a lot better than me. Amazing. 15 years old, you get a camera and a big light stuck in your face and told that you're live on TV, and dealt with it superbly, as she dealt with the route superbly. I mean, it's just hard to believe that 14 days ago she was barely on the radar. She's now won 2 of the World Cups and been second in the other. And as you rightly said, Mike, probably looked stronger than Yanya, which is scarcely believable. I think Yanya had a fabulous bouldering season and had to convert then to lead.
Well, that has to play into it,
I think it does, yeah, but converting from being clearly the best in bouldering to clearly the best in lead in just a few weeks' time is perhaps beyond even Yanya, but that is to take nothing away from Jaehyun. It's been an amazing 3 World Cups.
Well, I would say they've now got a couple of weeks to rest and train, more importantly, for the World Championship. So I think Yanya, that rest could be really crucial for her. So
yeah.
Jaehyun, Natsuki Tani, watch out. Yanya Gamba is coming for you, no doubt.
She certainly is. Pity those holds in her training wall, because she's going to be frustrated. She's going to be pulling them off the wall. But 3 fabulous World Cups. It's always a pleasure to tour through the Alps in summer. The next IFSC action will be live from Hachioji in the west of Tokyo. It is the World Championships, and people will be qualifying from the Olympics in that event. I cannot wait to be there. Mike, thank you very much for your company and for taking care of Vilar in my absence. And yeah, roll on Tokyo.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. 2 weeks break and we'll be back at it. I can't wait.
C'est énorme.
Ça y est, l'IFFC, ils sont prêts pour la fête. They are ready for the party. They work everything, a camera, yeah. Like Alexander Negos. And good job, guys. The IFSC commentator. Sorry for our voice. There. We know now it's finished for you. The French adventure is finished there. And good luck for Tokyo and the rest.
Alors, juste aussi une info importante, info objet trouvé. Alors, on a trouvé une clé de je sais pas quoi, avec un porte-clés wax.
Ah, c'est bien parce que ça va être pratique pour savoir c'est resté.
Et 50 Factory, il y a marqué. Voilà, tous les objets trouvés, vous pourrez les récupérer à la boutique, à l'entrée du mondial. Bon, les clés, elles vont remonter petit à petit, faut pas être trop pressé. Faudra rester avec nous jusqu'au bout de la nuit. Et voilà, pour les objets trouvés, c'est là-bas que ça se passe.
Ladies and gentlemen, the victory ceremony for the IFSC Lead World Cup Briançon 2019. Mesdames et messieurs, la cérémonie des vainqueurs de la Coupe du Monde d'escalade de difficulté de Briançon 2019. Please welcome the medalist for the list climbing men. Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez accueillir les médaillés d'escalade de difficulté hommes. The medals and flower will be presented by Mr. Kominata Toru, Vice President of the International Federation of Sports Climbing. Mr. Gérard From, Mayor of the City of Briançon. Bronze medalist, representing Japan, Shuta Tanaka. Silver medalist representing Japan, Hiroto Shimizu. Gold medalist and winner of the Briançon IFSC Lead World Cup 2019 representing Japan, Ishida Idemasa. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem of Japan. Ladies and gentlemen, the World Cup medalist, winner Mr. Idemasa Ishida, silver medal Hiroto Shimizu, and bronze medal Shuta Tanaka.
Bah ouais, j'essaye de chercher un shot, c'est chaud. Mais je vais bouger. Ouais, ouais. chrono, tu vois. Merci beaucoup. Ouais, ouais. Non.
Ladies and gentlemen, the victory ceremony for the IFSC League World Cup Briançon 2019. Mesdames et messieurs, la cérémonie des vainqueurs de la Coupe du Monde d'escalade de difficulté de Briançon 2019. Please welcome the medalists for the lead climbing women. Mesdames et messieurs, les médaillés d'escalade de difficulté femmes. The medals and flowers will be presented by Mr. Marco Maria Scolaris, President of the International Federation of Sport Climbing, and Mr. Gerard From, Mayor of the City of Briançon. Bronze medal, representing Japan, Tani Natsuki. Silver medalist representing Slovenia, Janja Gambret. Gold medalist and winner of the Briançon IFSC Lead World Cup 2019 representing Korea, So Chang-yoon. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem of Korea. Ladies and gentlemen, the World Cup medalist! Bronze medal, Tani Natsuki. Silver medal, Janja Gambret. Gold medal, So Chang-yoon. fait remonter les garçons. Please welcome the men medalists on the podium. Don't move. Yania, stay there. All the girls on the podium, please, with the men. On finit, on est quand même en escalade, on adore ce moment-là. C'est le moment où on sabre le champagne. Évidemment, ça musique d'écho. Il y a 30 ans, c'était dans la vallée, on était à Serre-Chevalier là-haut. Jean-Marie Gray créé cet événement incroyable que le mondial de l'escalade. Il a tenu un paquet de temps. Après est arrivé Philippe Ligereau. Et Philippe Ligereau, quand on arrivait sur les coupes du monde, il voyait les grimpeurs arriver, on était à l'époque Serge Berwick. La compétition était après le travail. Elle est devenue Coupe du Monde. Il était excité de voir arriver tous ces grimpeurs, tous les ouvreurs, tous les gens qui travaillent. Il y avait une chaleur humaine énorme. Et j'ai pensé aussi, évidemment, pour la famille, Charlotte et ses filles, pour Alix, le PGHM, toujours présent, c'est une grande famille. Et il y a 4 ans, il nous a quittés dans un accident tragique en montagne. On ne va pas pleurer Philippe Ligereau, il est au-dessus de nous à vie. Je voudrais juste, s'il vous plaît, qu'on lui fasse une ovation et que tout le monde applaudisse. Franck Prigent, nouvel organisateur, Philippe Ligereau, Jean-Marie Gray, du bruit de Briançon, s'il vous plaît.
You ask the questions?
Yes.
Yes?
Alors, Briançon, ça sera toujours le plus gros open international au monde, la plus grande compétition du monde. Et en l'honneur de Philippe, il y aura toujours un trophée qui marquera la mémoire de tous ces gens de cœur qui ont travaillé pour cette belle ville et amené l'escalade au plus haut niveau de la ville de Briançon. On va remettre le trophée à 2 athlètes, des athlètes qui le méritent par leur temps utilisé ici dans les compétitions, et par leur prestige. Je voudrais qu'on applaudisse l'Italien, on va commencer par les filles, la Suissesse qui va nous rejoindre, une grande fanésiste. Please welcome Catherine Chong, Switzerland. Et Catherine remporte le trophée Philippe Ligereau, trophée de cœur. Charlotte, on va se décaler un peu. Charlotte, elle est émue évidemment, et je pense à toute sa famille. Catherine, go sur le podium. Applaudissements pour Catherine Chong qui gagne le trophée le plus important dans nos cœurs. The same Philippe Ligereau trophy for men, and the winner is from Italy. I would like to round applause for Marcella Bombardi.
決勝お疲れ様でした。3位おめでとうございます。まず今の心境からお願いします。
とてもびっくりしててシンプルに嬉しいです。
3位が決まった瞬間はどんな風に思いましたか？
そうですね、すごくびっくりして、同時に日本人3人表彰台っていうなんか歴史的な瞬間に立ち会えて本当に嬉しかったです。
決勝のルートについて伺いたいんですけれども、最初オブザベの時のルートの印象はどんな印象でしたか？
そうです、シンプルに難しいパートがなくて、そのエンデュランス系で持久力が求められて、自分には合ってると思いました。
実際に登ってみてどうでしたか？
そうですね、思っていたよりも下部があんまり悪くなくてスムーズにいけて、そうですね、自分のリズムで登れたのが良かったと思います。
中間部で長いレストをしている時に一言叫んでいたと思うんですけれども、あれは何て叫んでたんですか？
そうですね、いつもそのレストポイントで気合い入れるために一声入れました。
改めて、ワールドカップの表彰台に立った感想をお願いします。
そうですね、今年の最大の目標だったんで、叶ってとても嬉しいです。
最後に今後の目標何かあったら教えてもらえますか？
今後は表彰台に乗ったんで、次はワールドカップ優勝を目指して頑張りたいです。
ありがとうございました。お疲れ様でした。お疲れ様でした。2位おめでとうございます。今の心境お願いします。
はい、そうですね、今回このブリアンソンの大会は、表彰台を目標にしてたので、その目標は達成できたのは本当に嬉しく思うんですけど、あと一歩で優勝という場面まで来たので、そこの部分ではちょっとやっぱり悔しさは残ってますね。
表彰台決まった瞬間はどんな心境でしたか？
まず嬉しい気持ちと悔しい気持ちが同時に来て、ちょっと感情が自分でもよく分からなかったんですけど、そうですね、なんとか目標は達成できたっていうので、満足はしてます。はい。
決勝のルートなんですけれども、最初見た目の印象はどうでしたか？
そうですね、僕としてはルートの見た目は結構良くて、自分の得意分野だと思ったので、これは表彰台狙えるなと思って、思い切って登りましたね。
登り出して下部の方を結構ゆっくり登っているなという印象だったんですけれども、その点はどうですか？
そうですね、僕結構ゆっくり登っていくスタイルなんですけど、タイムの問題もやっぱり発生して、最後の方はやっぱり焦っちゃったんで、そこら辺ももうちょっと改善の余地はあるのかなというふうに思います。
最後の傾斜が変わったあたりからすごい悪いように見えたんですけれども、最後落ちた部分について教えてもらっていいですか？
そうですね、やっぱり傾斜が変わってからがもう勝負になって、一気に悪い手が続くっていう感じだったんで、最後落ちたところはもう本当に、いろんな要因が考えられるんですけど、足の位置だったり、体のポジションだったりっていうのがうまくはまらなくて、落ちちゃったっていう感じですね。
最後に今後の目標を教えてもらってもいいですか？
はい、今後そうですね、またワールドカップに出て次は優勝を目指して頑張りたいと思います。はい。
ありがとうございました。お疲れ様でした。決勝お疲れ様でした。優勝おめでとうございます。今のまず心境をお願いします。
まず1位になれたってことが嬉しいのと驚きでいっぱいです。
決勝が最初の出番で後からの選手を待っての優勝だったんですけれども、待っている瞬間と決まった瞬間、どんな心境でしたか？
待っている時はなんだろう、こう全部自分が出し切ったからもうどんな順位になってもいいやと思ってて、で取った瞬間はなんだろう、驚きでもういっぱいで、もうなんかあんまり言葉にできないです。
決勝のルートについてなんですけれども、最初見た時はどんな印象でしたか？
結構持久力でなんか自分厳しいかなって思ってたんですけど、登ってみたら、なんかしんどいけどまだいけるなっていう感じのルートでした。
登っていて傾斜が変わったあたりから結構辛そうだなっていう印象で、最後の3手ぐらいはすごい耐えながら取りに行っている感じがしたんですけれども、登っていてどうでしたか？
自分の中で出し切り感っていうのが今回の目標だったので、もう限界の限界を出し切って登っていたと思います。
最後は結構悪かったんです。
最後もう腕が張りすぎてて、もうなんか持っている感覚はあんまりなかったです。
今シーズン初の大会ということだったんですけれども、その大会でメダル優勝をした要因は自分で何だと思いますか？自分の中でやっぱり表彰台に乗るっていうことをずっと頭に置いて練習してたのが良かったのかなっていうところがあります。 最後に今後の目標を教えてもらっていいですか？
またこういうワールドカップの大会に出てまた1位を取りたいと思います。
ありがとうございました。おめでとうございます。決勝お疲れ様でした。3位おめでとうございます。まず今の心境お願いします。
すごいびっくりして嬉しいです。
決勝のルートは見た目どんな印象でしたか？
難しそうだなと思いました。
最後のゴール取りのところで落ちてしまったと思うんですけれども、登ってみてどうでしたか？
私の今の実力だったらやっぱりまだゴールは取れなかったと思うので、これからもっと練習を頑張って最後難しいムーブが出ても決めれるようになりたいなと思いました。
ワールドカップ初参戦で3戦連続の決勝ということだったんですけれども、出てみての印象はどうでしたか？
やっぱりワールドカップはすごいお客さんがたくさんいて いっぱい応援されてすごい楽しかったです。
最後に今後の目標を教えてください。
ワールドカップで優勝できたらいいなと思ってます。
ありがとうございました。お疲れ様でした。
It's finished. It's okay. You're welcome.